Chapter 3084. Impossible. How can he block such a power that's close to the Tao? He didn't submit. These people were all stunned, especially the elders of the ethereal peak. They looked as if they had seen a ghost. Almost no one is a match for a power that's close to the Tao. How did that kid block it? No matter how powerful his sword technique is, it's impossible. Is that the power of the dragon sword so? Jun Wuya was also stunned. His expression became extremely ugly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. That kid didn't kneel down and submit to me is really beyond my expectations. Dragon sword so? He gritted his teeth and snorted. Although the dragon sword soul was powerful, it was still inferior to the power that was close to the Tao. Only the Tao is eternal between heaven and earth. If the ruler wants the subject to die, the subject must die. Jun Wuya shouted again. Boom! Countless runes rolled on his body, and his domineering aura covered the entire world. For a moment, everyone trembled again. Many people screamed. Damn it, what's going on? Why do I want to draw my sword and kill myself? Block it! Clang! Some people couldn't help but draw their weapons. In the next moment, they threw away their weapons in horror and retreated crazily. Seeing this scene, the elders once again set up the array formation and completely enveloped the disciples who didn't participate in the battle. Between heaven and earth, only Lin Xian and Jun Wuya were not enveloped by the array formation. It's too terrifying. How can this be? Wang Ji's body trembled. He looked at the long sword on the ground with a face full of horror. At that moment, he had drawn his sword and wanted to stab his own heart. The power of the Tao, that's the power of the Tao. There was also a flying dagger at Yifei's fingertips, and it was very close to his neck. Moreover, he was swept by the aftermath of the power. One could imagine how terrifying the impact would be for Lin Xian since he was the first to bear the brunt of it. That was the power that was close to the Tao. It was extremely terrifying. Everyone was terrified and envious. If the power that was close to the Tao was already so terrifying, how powerful would the laws of the Great Path be? If the saints wanted to kill them, they could turn countless invincible kings into ashes with a single sentence. Everyone below the saints were ants. Jun Wuya wasn't a saint, not even a half-saint. However, he had grasped a power that was close to the Tao. He was completely superior to those invincible kings. Buzz! Under this force, Lin Xian's hands trembled slightly. He raised the blazing Qilin sword in his hand, wanting to stab himself. Lin Xian's powers, and his eyes shone brightly. Can affect me? It's a power that's close to the Tao. Lin Xian took a deep breath. The great dragon sword soul within his body roared wildly as a surge of power surged into his hand. Instantly his hand stopped trembling and became as steady as a rock. His hand was steady. T can't be. Everyone Jun can't believe it. Damn it, how did he do it? Black Demon's eyes widened, and his face was filled with shock. He knew that he was no match for Jun Wuya. However, Lin Xian blocked it. And it looked like it was effortless. He couldn't believe it. Huangfu Beitian was shocked as well. Even Yu Linglong and Han Fei's eyes were wide open. The North Monster's eyes flickered. Looks like he's comprehended a power that's close to the Tao. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to block Jun Wuya's attack. This guy is indeed an opponent worth looking forward to. Buzz! Lin Xian stabilized his hand and slashed with his sword. A huge crack appeared in the sky, spreading rapidly as it charged forward. Jun Wuya's pupils shrank. His figure flashed, and he dodged the sword. Damn it! You're not affected. How is that possible? Jun Wuya was the most shocked. Did his domineering Tao lose its effect? That was impossible. Previously, when he faced the peak invincible kings, he used his domineering Tao. Those invincible kings had to kneel before him and commit suicide. No one could resist him. But now, both of his attacks were ineffective. Who could tell him? What's going on? Lin Xian's expression was cold. A power that's close to the Tao? That's powerful. However, that's all there is to your domineering Tao. Next, I'll show you my power that's close to the Tao. What? What did he say? He has a power that's close to the Tao. That's impossible. The crowd screamed crazily. The elders trembled. Could it be that this kid has really comprehended a power that's close to the Tao? It's only been a few months. Is he going to defy the heavens? The crowd went crazy. At that moment, even the peak masters and grand elders' expressions changed. Their eyes flickered as they stared at Lin Xian. They wanted to see if Lin Xian was putting on an act or did he really have such power. On the stage, Jun Wuya was stunned. Then, he burst into laughter. Kid, what did you say? You have a power that's close to the Tao? What a joke! His face was full of disdain, as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He admitted that the other party was able to get the recognition of the Moongazer steel. His talent was heaven-defying. But so what? It's only been a few months since he got the Moongazer steel. What can he do in these few months? As for me, I've been an extraordinary scholar manner for more than 100 years. Since 100 years ago, I began to comprehend the ethereal steel. It was only in the recent 10 years that I succeeded in comprehending a trace of power. Obtaining a power that's close to the Tao. Just like that, I'm already a peerless genius, ranked 4th in the entire extraordinary scholar manner. How can a newcomer compete with me? I don't believe that he has such power. You don't believe it? Don't worry, I'll let you see it. Lin Xian raised his finger and pointed forward. Annihilation. Is he going to make a move? Everyone was nervous. The elders were also watching nervously. Jun Wuya was stunned. He was on high alert. Lin Xian had the sword chi of the great dragon sword spirit. It was terrifying. He was afraid that the other party would use some sharp sword technique. Hence, he was prepared. But in the next moment, he was stunned. There was no terrifying sword chi rushing out from the other party. What's going on? Is it a bluff? Kid, you're really funny. Do you think that I, Jun Wuya, am scared? Jun Wuya snorted in disdain. He took a step forward and was about to attack. He didn't believe that the other party could grasp such power. Buzz! Suddenly, his entire right arm turned into ashes and no longer existed. Ah! Jun Wuya let out a blood-curdling scream as he spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards. His right arm quickly disappeared, vanishing into thin air. How is this possible? Jun Wuya was dumbfounded. He half knelt on the ground and covered his wound. Not only him, but everyone else was also stunned. Chapter 3085. Heavens, what happened? Who can explain it? Those geniuses widened their eyes as if they had seen a ghost. Those elders were also trembling. The great elder stood up, the peak master sucked in a breath of cold air, and even the mansion master's eyes were shining brightly, illuminating the entire world. A power that was close to the Tao. Damn it, how could this kid have such power? Impossible. He had only comprehended it for a few months. Could it be that he was already so heaven-defying? Is this kid still human? These people were all crazy. The black demon's body trembled and his face twisted. He roared crazily. Damn it, how could he have comprehended it? I don't believe it. How could he have comprehended a power that was close to the Tao? Huangfu Beitian was also stunned. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others screamed. The North Demon's eyes flickered. It appeared, this power really appeared. He had mastered this power, and it seemed to be a very domineering and destructive power. Lin Xian's move shocked everyone in the mansion master. Countless people were terrified. On the arena, Jun Wuya also came back to his senses. He screamed crazily. I don't believe it! How did you comprehend it? He had gone crazy. It took him 100 years to comprehend it, but the other party comprehended it in a few months. How could the gap be so big? He had never heard of it before? Even Yi Guqing wasn't so terrifying back then. Seeing Jun Wuya roaring crazily and no longer having the domineering aura of a king, Lin Xian sneered. Don't use your ant-like vision to understand me. I'm not an existence that you can understand. As he spoke, he waved the long sword in his hand again and swept it out. Annihilation of the sword. The blade drew an arc, and an incomparably terrifying power was used. Everywhere it passed, everything turned into ashes. Nothing could resist it. This was a power that was close to the Tao, a power that Lin Xian had comprehended. Jun Wuya's body swayed, and he threw out a few sky tyrant fists, but they all turned into ashes. At the next moment, he came to the other side. The king's order, disappear. Now Jun Wuya had no choice but to use his domineering Tao to resist. This domineering Tao was extremely terrifying. He was like a supreme king, commanding everyone and everything. For example, making people kneel, or making people commit suicide. Now, he wasn't targeting Lin Xian. Instead, he was targeting the destructive power and making it disappear. In the sky, the strange sword she indeed stopped. Its light dimmed, and its power weakened, as if it was about to disappear. This was the power of the Tao of dominance. However, the domineering Tao wasn't having it easy either. Under the power of annihilation, it was disappearing slowly as well. Two powers that were close to the Tao collided in the sky. In an instant, the surrounding void collapsed and was annihilated, turning into countless large black holes. It was soundless, but it was more terrifying than a myriad of divine abilities. Everyone knew that right now, even if a king at the perfect level stood there, he would be instantly killed, unable to escape at all. You really do possess a power that is close to the Tao. Jun Wuya was too shocked. With this kind of power, one would have the qualifications to stand at the peak of the extraordinary warrior mansion. The other party was a very powerful enemy. But so what? Jun Wuya smiled. I admit that you are very strong, and your talent is heaven-defying. I have never seen anyone who could comprehend this kind of power so quickly. But it's a pity that you still met me. Jun Wuya's body emitted a terrifying aura, and his eyes became brighter and brighter. If it was me a few months ago, I might not have been your match. Unfortunately, in these few months, I have a breakthrough in my comprehension of heaven and earth. My control of the Tao of dominance has improved again. So, you are not my opponent at all. Next, I will let you see my true strength. Sovereign descends. As he spoke, the power of the Tao of dominance in front of him became stronger again. It was as if a heavenly emperor had been resurrected, looking down on the world. At this moment, everyone felt that they were insignificant, and would be crushed at any time. It's over. Lin Xian is in danger. Yes, they didn't expect Jun Wuya to be hiding his strength. This kind of power that is close to the Tao is too terrifying. It has already surpassed Lin Xian. Unless Lin Xian had other trump cards, he couldn't win at all. What other trump cards could he have? Being close to the Tao was already his greatest trump card. Everyone shook their heads. Although Lin Xian was monstrously strong, he was probably going to lose this time. Has his strength increased again? Seeing that the sword chi he sent out was slowly disappearing, and the emperor figure was getting stronger and stronger, Lin Xian's eyes flickered. True strength? Well, I will let you see it. With a low roar, the great dragon sword soul erupted. The power of the great dragon sword soul overlapped with the power of annihilation. In front of him, the sword light was originally dim and about to be extinguished at any time, but suddenly, it seemed to be injected with a mysterious power and suddenly soared. It slashed in the air. The emperor figure was cut in half at the waist. Whoosh! The emperor figure and the illusion condensed by the Tao of dominance disappeared. Jun Wuya vomited blood and fell to the ground. How is this possible? He actually broke my Tao of dominance. Could it be that he was also hiding his strength? Damn it, who the hell is this kid? Jun Wuya's body trembled. The others were also stunned. They were like statues, their minds in a daze. This scene was simply too inconceivable. He won, he actually won. The northern monster's pupils shrank. He knew Jun Wuya's strength. In his opinion, it would not be easy for Lin Xian to win against Jun Wuya. It was even possible that both of them would be injured. But now, Lin Xian actually suppressed Jun Wuya. He was not injured at all. It seems that his strength is beyond my imagination. The northern monster took a deep breath. Yu Linglong and Han Fei were both shocked. They could feel an immense threat. A rising genius was charging towards them. They had no choice but to treat him with caution. They were afraid that if they encountered Lin Xian in the future, they would have to use their full strength. Otherwise, they would end up like Jun Wuya. The black demon's body trembled, and his face was filled with fear. He originally wanted to challenge Lin Xian. He thought that his strength had increased greatly in the past few months, and he could easily trample on Lin Xian. But now, after seeing the battle between Lin Xian and Jun Wuya, he immediately changed his mind. Fight with Lin Xian? Trample on Lin Xian? What a joke! Even Jun Wuya, who had comprehended the Tao of dominance, was not a match for him, let alone him. Now, he only hoped that they would not encounter each other. The Great Elder, the Four Peak Masters, and the Mansion Master were also overjoyed. Lin Xian's strength was beyond their imagination. Finally, another peerless genius had appeared in their extraordinary scholar mansion? This guy would not be any weaker than Yi Guqing when he grew up. This kid had the aura of an emperor. His future achievements were limitless. The Mansion Master nodded in satisfaction. Chapter 3086. Winner, Full Moon Peaks Lin Xian. The referee elder hurriedly announced the result. Soon, someone carried Jun Wuya off the stage. Lin Xian's figure flickered as he arrived below the stage. He stood with his hands behind his back and continued to watch the battle. This guy actually won. He actually comprehended the full moon wordless steel. How despicable! Qing Wu was stunned, and so was Zhong Lingxiu. Xin Jingqiu was even happier. Her big eyes turned into crescents. The battle continued. This time, it was Shui Jiyu and He Mo's battle. When the two of them appeared, the crowd exclaimed again. The two of them were also outstanding sky prides. If the northern Yao Yu Linglong and the others were top-tier sky prides who had comprehended the Tao, then Shui Jiyu and He Mo were in the second tier. Whether it was He Mo or Shui Jiyu, they were top-tier existences even in the second tier. Especially the two of them, who had recently become very famous. He Mo had fought his way back from the fallen abyss, while Shui Jiyu had fought her way back from the blood refinement star. Both places were extremely dangerous. There were even places where half-saints were unwilling to enter. However, not only did the two of them enter, but they also came back alive. Their strength had greatly increased. On the stage, Shui Ji waved her blood-red scimitar and turned into a god of death. Monstrous blood-red light surged in all directions and covered the entire sky. The blood in the crowd's body roiled. The murderous aura almost made many people faint. On the other side, He Mo was even more violent. His demonic aura filled the sky. The battle between the two was like a god of death fighting a demon king. It was earth-shattering. All kinds of magical techniques emerged one after another. Even the elders nodded in satisfaction. The two of them were not bad. Their strength had greatly increased compared to before. Eh? Is Shui Jiyu going to use blood crystal? An elder exclaimed. He Mo was going to use the 9 heavens fallen demon. In the sky, countless blood-red scimitar lights quickly condensed into a blood-red figure. It carried a powerful force as it charged forward. On the other side, the 9 heavens were upside down. Countless black runes formed a black abyss. The two terrifying forces exploded, destroying the world. Terrifying energy soared into the sky. In the end, Black Demon won by half a move, and a hellish crack pierced through the blood-red figure, causing Shui Jiyu to cough up blood and fly back. Win! He Mo actually won! Everyone cried out in surprise. This was a scene they had never imagined. Before, although He Mo was strong, he was ranked behind Shui Jiyu. Who would have thought that he would be able to make a comeback this time? The people of Full Moon Peak were also screaming crazily. First it was Lin Xian, and now it was Black Devil. This time, their full moon peak was going to soar into the sky. Huangfu Beitian had yet to make his move. How would he perform this time? Everyone was looking forward to it. Not long after, Huangfu Beitian made his move. He walked up to the arena. Everyone screamed because his opponent had also come up. Han Fei. It was actually the third-ranked Han Fei. Huangfu Beitian was going to lose. Han Fei was extremely terrifying. He was even ranked above Jun Wuya. Jun Wuya had already comprehended the power of Tao, so Han Fei must have comprehended it as well. Moreover, its power was even greater than Jun Wuya's. They wondered how Huangfu Beitian would contend against him. Huangfu Beitian was ranked 5th. They wondered if he had comprehended the power of Tao. They did not know. Last time, they did not see him use it. Perhaps this time, he might have comprehended it. After all, Lin Xian had not fought with Huangfu Beitian on Full Moon Peak, so no one could make Huangfu Beitian use his true power. Everyone was watching this battle. Lin Xian's eyes were also shining. He wondered what kind of power Han Fei had comprehended that was close to the Tao. He had already experienced Jun Wuya's domineering Tao, but he had not seen Han Fei, Yu Linglong, and the Northern Demon's Tao. He could take advantage of this battle to observe. On the arena, either of them spoke. Huangfu Beitian did not waste any time talking. He directly pulled out his mad blade and slashed forward. Wherever the long blade went, the void would be shattered. Han Fei was wearing a purple armor. Endless lightning rushed out of his body, instantly forming a lightning domain. He did not use his power of Tao. Instead, he used his king domain. After all, for these prodigies, the power of Tao was also a trump card. They could not use it casually. The purple lightning domain was extremely terrifying. It covered heaven and earth, and endless lightning fell from the sky. Every bolt of lightning could kill an invincible king. The elders were all astonished when they saw this. The elders of Divine Tactics Peak exclaimed. Han Fei's strength had increased again. Yes. Although he was only at the peak of the 9-star realm, those at the peak of the invincible realm were not his match. Not only that, his lightning was approaching a limit. If it went any higher, it would be at the half-step saint level. If a half-step saint did not use the power of laws, it would be difficult to resist this lightning. Everyone discussed. Without a doubt, the purple lightning domain was extremely terrifying. The sky full of lightning enveloped Huangfu Beitian and swallowed him. Huangfu Beitian slashed in all directions with his long blade. The purple lightning that rushed toward him was all destroyed by him. He used his maximum speed and charged forward. What a violent saber technique! Countless experts exclaimed. The elders' eyelids also twitched. They originally thought that with Han Fei's strength, he could win by using his king domain. But now, it seemed that they had underestimated Huangfu Beitian. At this moment, Huangfu Beitian was charging forward like a god of sabers. Nothing could stop him wherever he went. The surrounding lightning kept shattering, and the void collapsed. Pung pung pung. In an instant, Huangfu Beitian broke through the purple lightning clouds and arrived in front of Han Fei. Han Fei let out a soft exclamation of surprise. You can break through my lightning domain. I really underestimated you. Pa! He raised his hand and struck forward. Huangfu Beitian's saber became stronger and more violent. In the end, even Yu Linglong, the North Demon, and the others were surprised. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He exclaimed in his heart. This Huangfu Beitian is incredible. His saber technique is so sharp. He nodded in admiration. He was a swordsman. A swordsman was similar to a saber artist. At this moment, he could see that Huangfu Beitian's saber was not only sharp, but also precise and violent. Every strike had its effect. He did not waste a single bit of energy. No wonder Huangfu Beitian could be ranked first on the Full Moon Peak. Compared to Heimo, he was much stronger. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He had seen the Black Demon's previous battle. It was very terrifying. However, in his opinion, it was too wasteful. Although the demonic aura was monstrous, most of the energy was just dazzling. It was not a threat to the opponent. However, Huangfu Beitian was different. His power was all concentrated on his saber. One saber strike could destroy everything. Lin Xian was sure that if Huangfu Beitian fought the Black Demon with all his strength, he would be able to defeat the Black Demon in 3 strikes. However, he still shook his head. If it was before, Huangfu Beitian would indeed be a great threat to him. However, it was different now. He had comprehended 2 types of power that were close to the Tao. He had completely surpassed ordinary invincible kings. If Huangfu Beitian did not have such power, he would not be a match for him at all. Chapter 3087. Han Fei was astonished by Huangfu Beitian's saber. I didn't expect your saber technique to be so sharp. I admit that if I don't use my final trump card, I might not be able to suppress you 100%. Unfortunately, I'm going to get serious. The purple lightning around Han Fei's body became even more terrifying as he spoke. Let me show you my Tao of lightning. Great destruction. Han Fei's aura had changed. He struck out with his palm, and the sky was completely torn apart. Endless lightning struck Huangfu Beitian and sent him flying. Huangfu Beitian's frenzied saber also broke into 2 halves with a clang. A power close to the Tao had appeared. Great destruction. As soon as this power appeared, it destroyed everything. The people of the Divine Will Peak screamed, and the elders let out a sigh of relief. Lin Xian stared at the sky with burning eyes. The Tao of lightning was one of the 3,000 Taos of heaven and earth. Furthermore, it was an extremely violent type. The power of lightning was one of the most violent forces in the world, and lightning-type experts were known for their violent destruction. At this moment, the Tao of thunder that Han Fei had comprehended was unleashed, it truly destroyed everything. The power was 100 times stronger than the demonic aura and endless sea of blood that Shui Jiyue and the Black Demon had displayed. The Black Demon, Shui Jiyue, and the others trembled under the power, and their faces were filled with despair. Huangfu Beitian also spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at the broken saber in his hand and shook his head helplessly. He stood up. I still have one last attack that I haven't used yet. It's useless. You're no match for me. Han Fei shook his head. However, Huangfu Beitian did not admit defeat. He took a step forward and yelled, Final saber, I intend to defeat the heavens. Huangfu Beitian yelled, and the light on his body was extremely bright like the sun. It was so bright that the crowd could not open their eyes. No way, Huangfu Beitian is still going to attack. His saber is already broken. The surrounding sky pride screamed, and the elders were shocked. He's treating himself as a saber with this move. This guy is really crazy. Buzz. Buzz. Huangfu Beitian turned into a saber and descended from the sky. Han Fei's eyelids twitched, and his face sank. The final saber? It's indeed powerful. But it's still not enough. Great spear of destruction. Boundless lightning surged around his body, forming a purple divine spear of annihilation that pierced forward. Boom! Boom! A terrifying power erupted between heaven and earth. Huangfu Beitian was sent flying, his face pale. On the other side, the purple divine spear also paused slightly as it shattered the void. Seeing this scene, the referee elder immediately announced that Han Fei was the victor. The full moon peak's grand elder's figure flickered, and he took Huangfu Beitian away. As expected. Everyone sighed. In front of a power that was close to the Tao, no matter how powerful a divine ability was, it was useless. Han Fei retracted all of his power, his expression somewhat cold. His final attack had actually failed to pierce through his opponent. Instead, his opponent had actually caused his great destruction spear to pause slightly. This was simply inconceivable. This Huangfu Beitian was also a fierce man. Once he comprehended a power that was close to the Tao, his strength would probably undergo an earth-shaking change. Han Fei took a deep breath and left the arena. This battle shook the heavens and the earth, truly shocking everyone. Although Huangfu Beitian did not comprehend anything close to the power of the Tao, his final words were like a blade, shocking the heavens, and shocking enough to shock everyone. Even the elders exclaimed in surprise. Transforming into a saber, the ultimate slash. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he was astounded. This Huangfu Beitian was not far away from comprehending a power that was close to the Tao. He was only one step away from comprehending it. He knew that Huangfu Beitian would be able to comprehend it soon after the battle. But what about this competition? Huangfu Beitian had no chance of coming in the top 3. However, the final slash did give Lin Xian some inspiration. Lin Xian could feel that his understanding of the sword Tao had improved. The following battles were even more intense. The participants continued to draw lots in the next round. After the first round, Lin Xian was matched against the Black Demon in the second round. The Black Demon wore an unpleasant expression. He even had the urge to kill himself. 10 days ago, he had returned in a domineering manner with great confidence. In his opinion, he would be able to crush both Huangfu Beitian and Lin Xian under his feet. He would become the strongest cultivator of the Full Moon Peak. He might even be able to make it to the top 5. However, when he saw Lin Xian defeating Jun Wuya with a power that was close to the Tao, the Black Demon knew that there was no way he could defeat Lin Xian. He was no match for Lin Xian at all. Lin Xian could probably defeat him with a single move. Furthermore, he would be severely injured. The Black Demon could not accept such a huge difference. He felt that his hard work, effort, and pride over the past few months had all been crushed into pieces by Lin Xian. I admit defeat. On the stage, Black Demon used all of his strength to say these 3 words. At that moment, he could even hear the sound of his heart shattering. Lin Xian did not make his move. He did not even look at the Black Demon. His opponent was no match for him at all. He could not even take a single move from him. Winning without a fight. This was another person who had done it after the North Demon. This Lin Xian was too terrifying. His fame was comparable to the North Demon. This kid could definitely make it to the top 3. Who could he push down? It would be difficult. The top 3 had all comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. They were all very terrifying. Although this kid was strong and had defeated Jun Wuya, it would not be easy for him to squeeze into the top 3. Lin Xian, it's my turn. Lin Xian came down, and on the other side, Xing Jingqiu walked up. Be careful, don't get hurt. Lin Xian was concerned. It was that spiritual body. She was also very strong. He wondered who her opponent was. The surrounding martial artists and elders were all interested when they saw Xing Jingqiu on the arena. This time, Xing Jingqiu had also displayed her powerful strength. Her cultivation was probably the highest among the younger generation of the elite warrior manner. Humph! A cold snort was heard. Then, a man in silver armor flew through the air and landed on the arena. Lightning surrounded his body, supporting a lightning domain as if he was the god of thunder. Emotion, it was actually him. Emotion, the second disciple of the Divine Strategy Peak, ranked 7th in the elite warrior manner. His strength was unquestionable. Moreover, it was rumored that Emotion had recently found the ruins of a half-step saint and obtained a lot of good things. It was over. That Xing Jingqiu was going to be in danger. Yes, although she was a spiritual body and had a high cultivation, her combat strength was not the strongest. If she was lucky, she could make it to the top 10. But now that she had encountered Emotion, she would probably be defeated. She could only blame her bad luck. But it was not a big deal. She was very young. Even if she failed this time, it did not matter. With her talent, strength, and appearance, she would definitely be the future goddess of the elite warrior manner. Perhaps Jingwu's status would be challenged. Indeed, everyone was very excited. One could imagine how popular Xing Jingqiu would be in the elite warrior manner in the coming days. Chapter 3088. Below the arena, Lin Xian frowned slightly. The Crimson Dragon beside him was also muttering to himself. She should be fine, right? Shinjinchio clenched her fists when she heard the discussions around her. Her expression turned serious, and her body exuded a hazy purple aura. Do these people not think highly of me? However, I won't lose. Shinjinchio snorted coldly in her heart. Brother Lin Xian is so strong. He has already comprehended the power of the Tao. As his woman, I can't be a burden. Brother Lin Xian, don't worry. I'm not just a pretty face. I'll win for sure. Shinjinchio slowly formed a seal with her hands. Opposite her, Mo Tian's body was surrounded by lightning. He looked ahead and said coldly, "It's useless. You're not my match." Silver armor lightning ring. Mo Tian opened his mouth and spat out a ring. It was formed by silver lightning. Once it appeared, it flashed with terrifying lightning runes and streaked across the sky. Terrifying energy undulations surged forward, trying to pierce through Shinjinchio. The power that was learned in the book was simply too terrifying and violent. Even a peaked invincible king would be killed instantly. Shinjinchio didn't retreat in the face of this attack. Her fingers quickly formed a seal, and she shouted. Cloud-grasping fist. Boundless deathly aura wrapped around Shinjinchio's jade-like hands as she grabbed forward. What? She wants to grab the silver armor lightning ring with her bare hands? That's impossible. Does she want to die? The runes on the silver armor lightning ring were terrifying. It was clearly the work of a half-saint. This was definitely a treasure that Mo Tian had obtained from a half-saint relic. Even the older invincible kings didn't dare to take such an attack head-on. How dare she do it with her bare hands? Where did she get her confidence from? Her cultivation? However, in front of such a treasure, the gap between their cultivations was very close. The surrounding people were shocked. They thought that Shinjinchio was too careless. Is there anything wrong with that little girl? The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and golden runes shone. He shook his head slightly. No problem. It seems like I've underestimated Chior. Chior is definitely going to win this battle. These words had the surrounding geniuses bewildered. They then shook their heads and laughed coldly. Lin Xian might be powerful, but Shinjinchio might not be. Although the other party is your woman, you can't be so confident. Mo Tian was ranked 7th in the House of Prodigy. He was even stronger than Mo. They didn't believe Lin Xian's words. But in the next moment, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. In front of him, a pair of purple jade-like hands reached out and shuttled through the void. They grabbed the silver lightning ring and squeezed it hard. With a cracking sound, the lightning ring broke into 2 halves. What? He was caught. Everyone was shocked. And he even broke it. Heavens, what kind of method is this? These people were going crazy. Some of the elders were also shocked. Previously, they didn't think highly of Shinjinchio. They thought that Shinjinchio was too arrogant to take the attack with her bare hands. It was very likely that he would be seriously injured. However, the result was beyond their expectations. It was actually broken. Mo Tian also frowned as his pupils abruptly shrank. He had never taken the other party seriously before, but from the looks of it now, he had underestimated the other party. Sure enough, you have the ability. No wonder you dared to make a move against me. But that attack just now was just my probing. Next, you will receive a storm-like attack. Mo Tian gave a cold shout. His eyes erupted with a piercing cold light. His body was like lightning as he quickly rushed forward. In an instant he arrived in front of Shinjinchio. His palm was like a lightning blade, invincible as it chopped down from the sky. It was comparable to a peaked treasure. Rushing thunder hand. It was the lightning great divine ability again. Shinjinchio turned into a purple cloud and disappeared in an instant. Even though the rushing thunder hand pierced through the cloud, it didn't hurt Shinjinchio. Following that, the two displayed their great divine abilities and began to contend in the sky. The surrounding people were shocked. At first, they didn't dare to believe it. Then, they burst into exclamations that filled the sky. This Shinjinchio was really too powerful. Didn't expect that she could actually contend with Mo Tian. Moreover, they were evenly matched. Heavens, is this a spirit body? She's also a newcomer. Why do I feel that everyone who is related to Lin Xian is so perverted? Everyone exclaimed. Those elders were also full of joy. However, Mo Tian frowned. After fighting for so long, he had displayed so many lightning great divine abilities, but he couldn't do anything to his opponent. He couldn't believe it. In the next moment, he gave a violent shout and rushed into the sky. Lightning surrounded his body. The terrifying lightning made people's souls tremble. Little girl, you've angered me. Next I'll let you see my new treasure. Mo Tian stretched out his hand. On his right wrist, there was a string of crystal-clear lightning beads. There were a total of 18 lightning beads drawn on the beads. Each lightning rune transformed into a lightning beast on the lightning beads. The 18 lightning beads were connected together. It was incomparably ferocious. At this moment, under Mo Tian's powerful lightning power, the 18 lightning beads flickered rapidly. The 18 lightning runes gushed out, and a terrifying power erupted. What was that? It must be a treasure obtained from the half-saint's ruins. It was too powerful. It was second only to the power close to Tao. Perhaps only the power close to Tao and Huangfu Baitian's ultimate blade could shatter it. Did Xin Jingqiu still have a trump card? If she didn't, she would have lost. Furthermore, she might be severely injured. Everyone started to worry for this beautiful girl again. Xin Jingqiu naturally felt threatened. The lightning runes emitted by the 18 lightning beads made her body tense up. Humph! She shouted. Do you want to compete with your final trump card? Come on! I'll let you see my trump card. Spiritual Wuji! With a low shout, a rune appeared between Xin Jingqiu's eyebrows. It was a mysterious blood-red rune. Once this blood-red rune appeared, the spiritual energy in the sky surged. Endless energy surged towards Xin Jingqiu like a rain of light. Xin Jingqiu's aura also rose rapidly. This aura? What's going on? Damn it, how is it possible? The elders stood up, their faces full of shock. Lin Xian was also shocked. Qiu's aura had surpassed that of an invincible king. Indeed, Xin Jingqiu was in the complete invincible realm. She had reached the limit of an invincible king. But now, his opponent's cultivation had increased again. Could it be that she was going to enter the half-saint realm? I didn't expect her to cultivate her spiritual body to such a level. The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. The surrounding people were horrified. That's not right. A half-saint didn't just increase one's cultivation, but also one's understanding of the Tao of heaven and earth. If she didn't understand the Tao of heaven and earth, how could she become a half-saint? That was indeed the case. A half-saint was equivalent to half a step into the realm of a saint. They could already understand the Tao of heaven and earth. The power they controlled surpassed the power close to Tao. It was called the fragment of the laws. It was an incomplete law. Once they understood the complete law, they would break through from a half-saint to a true saint. It could be said that the half-saint realm was below the saints. It was completely above the invincible kings. Chapter 3089. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. What do you know? How can you understand the power of a spirit body? This was a famous physique in ancient times. Her cultivation had already surpassed the invincible king realm. She had not reached the saint realm, but she could reach the half-saint realm. It was just that she had not comprehended the laws. A half-saint realm without comprehending the laws. Countless exclamations were heard. The elders were also shocked. The 4 peak masters and supreme elders were also surprised. The mansion master nodded slightly. Not bad, not bad. This little girl is very talented. Even Han Fei, Yu Linglong, and the others were surprised. The northern demon also had a serious expression. In the arena, Mo Tian frowned. His body trembled slightly. He felt a terrifying pressure coming from his opponent. This pressure was too strong. If Luo Yunyang's cultivation base was a great river, then Luo Yunyang's cultivation base was an endless ocean. This kind of comparison was enough to directly crush him. Buzz! He could not wait any longer. He could not let his opponent's aura completely increase. He waved his arm, and the 18 lightning pearls on his wrist rushed out. They circled in the sky and enlarged like 18 stars. The 18 lightning beasts on the pearls kept roaring. They sometimes turned into ferocious beasts, and sometimes into ancient runes. As they rose and fell, bolts of lightning descended from the sky and completely engulfed the area below. The 18 lightning beasts finally burst out at this moment and rushed down. Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. This was a fatal attack. An invincible King Realm expert could not withstand it. In the sea of lightning, Shinjinchio also made her move. The purple cloud armor appeared on her body. She was like a supreme goddess. With a wave of her hand, the surrounding lightning shattered. Then she slapped out a lightning beast that was close to her and sent it flying. She was too strong. Her power had surpassed the invincible King Realm, and even reached the level of Huangfu Baitian's ultimate blade. However, the ultimate blade could only be used once. Shinjinchio could now maintain this power and form a special state. So strong! Was this the power of a spirit body? Huangfu Baitian was also shocked. Even Han Fei, Jun Wuya, and the other geniuses who had comprehended the Tao looked solemn. His opponent was currently a half-saint. Although she had not comprehended the laws, she was extremely powerful. She had surpassed the invincible King Realm. However, they were confident that they could defeat the other party. But what if the other party's cultivation level increased to that of a saint? Although there were no laws, with that boundless and ferocious cultivation strength, could it suppress them? They had no idea. Moreover, they did not know if Shinjinchio could reach that level. But no matter what, this was an opponent with great potential. The more Shinjinchio fought, the braver she became. She was like a fairy from the 9 heavens, sweeping through all directions. The 18 lightning beasts were beaten by her until they screamed miserably. In the end, they were all turned into ashes. Ka ka ka! Cracks had also appeared on the mysterious lightning bee bracelet. It looked like it would collapse at any moment. Seeing this, Emotian's face turned extremely ugly. He hurriedly put away the lightning bee bracelet. He had lost. Emotian actually lost. Everyone cried out in disbelief. Emotian was ranked 7th. How powerful! Especially when he used the 18 lightning beads bracelet, he would be able to fight against Huangfu Baitian. But now, he had lost to Shinjinchio. It was unbelievable. Why do I feel that Shinjinchio is too scary? That move of hers was able to fight against a power that was close to the Tao. I don't know. The power that was close to the Tao was too strange. Unless they really fought, no one would be able to deduce it. I've won. Shinjinchio heaved a sigh of relief. She removed the power of the bloodline, and the rune between her eyebrows disappeared. Her cultivation had also returned to the invincible Great Perfection realm. Big brother Lin Xian, Chior has won. Shinjinchio cheered as she ran down the arena. Lin Xian was also very happy. He hugged Shinjinchio in his arms. Everyone was extremely envious. Damn, the new goddess is already taken. Many people were disappointed. Shinjinchio's appearance, cultivation, strength, and talent were all excellent. She was not inferior to Qin Wu at all. She was a new goddess. However, at this moment, when they saw Shinjinchio snuggling in Lin Xian's arms with a blissful look on her face, the surrounding geniuses felt their hearts bleeding. They had not even started to fight, but the goddess was already taken. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, I really want to go up and beat him up. Sigh, forget it. I'll give Lin Xian some face. These people shook their heads and sighed. It was not that they did not want to fight, but that they could not beat Lin Xian. The competition continued. Next, another peerless genius appeared. It was Zhong Linxiu. She defeated Shui Jiyue in a domineering manner, which also shocked the crowd. Shinjinchio was already taken, but Zhong Linxiu did not seem to be. Whoever was able to gain the favor of Fairy Zhong would definitely be extremely lucky. These geniuses once again looked at Zhong Linxiu. However, Zhong Lingxiu's gaze was calm, as if she did not pay special attention to anyone. Lin Xian, the North Demon, and the others also frowned slightly. This was because they saw coldness and disregard in each other's eyes. Indeed, it was coldness and disregard, as if she did not care about the entire world. How confident did she have to have such an expression? Was she looking down on the world? Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that Zhong Lingxiu was more mysterious than he thought. He wondered if she had grasped a power that was close to Tao. The competition continued. Everyone went up one after another. Among them, Lin Xian won every match. Xing Jingqiu and Yu Linglong fought and lost to Yu Linglong. Jun Huia attacked again. After winning a few matches, he lost to Han Fei. Huangfu Beitian, He Mo, and the others also attacked. There were victories and defeats. There were only 4 people who won every match. The North Demon, Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and Lin Xian. Buzz! A figure walked up. He wore a purple armor and was surrounded by a purple sea of lightning. It was Han Fei. After Han Fei came up, he looked around. I wonder who his opponent is. No matter who it was, they would be miserable. Other than the North Demon and Yu Linglong, no one could beat him. It's my turn. Lin Xian also walked up the stage. Everyone screamed. What? It's Lin Xian. Lin Xian was going to fight Han Fei. Heavens, is the final battle about to begin? Both of them had won every match. Moreover, both of them had grasped a power that was close to Tao. Who would be the stronger one if the two of them fought? Han Fei stood in the field with a serious expression. His eyebrows and hair were purple and surrounded by powerful lightning. When he saw Lin Xian come up, he said coldly, "The power that you've grasped is close to Tao. It's strange. It's like destruction, but it's silent. It's similar to my Tao of lightning. I really want to know who's stronger between the two of you." At this point, endless lightning surged from Han Fei's body and pierced through the 9 heavens. I want to know too. It seems like I'll be able to get the result now. Lin Xian smiled, then extended a hand in invitation. A terrifying aura surged from his body as if he was a demon king that could destroy everything. Great destruction! Han Fei threw a punch. Terrifying energy surged, and everywhere it passed, the sky collapsed. Chapter 3090. A power that was close to the Tao had appeared. Everyone was amazed when they saw the power of great destruction again. The elders were also excited. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He did not dare to be careless against this power. Buzz! He waved his sword and executed the Sword of Annihilation. With a slash of the sword destroyed everything. The two collided in the air, and the resulting power made Huangfu Beitian, Mo Tian, He Mo, and the others scream in horror. It was too terrifying. Most likely, he could defeat them with a single move, or even kill them. Boom! 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 The two forces dissipated at the same time. It was indeed powerful. It was mysterious. It seemed that this power alone could not do anything to you. Han Fei snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, endless lightning quickly formed a spear that he held in his hand. Great Destruction Spear! He waved the spear in his hand and stabbed out. Thousands of light shadows surged forward with the power of destruction. One after another, they were densely packed and enveloped the entire world. This was a law ability! An elder exclaimed. A power that was close to the Tao coupled with an unparalleled ability. Heavens! Han Fei was too heaven-defying. His application of this power was simply too powerful. In the previous battle, even if it was close to the Tao, he could easily defeat the enemy with just 1 or 2 moves. It was the first time that such a fusion of power had appeared. Therefore, everyone was amazed. They looked at Lin Xian, wondering if Lin Xian could resist it. How far had Lin Xian's comprehension of the laws reached? A law ability? It's really surprising. He smiled and was not afraid at all. In the next moment, he waved his sword and destroyed the lotus. Streaks of sword chi appeared one after another, forming numerous green lotuses in the sky. Each sword lotus carried an extremely strong power of annihilation. Anyone who touched it would turn into nothingness. A law ability! Another law ability! He fused a power that was close to the Tao into his sword technique. This Lin Xian was incredible. Clang! The blazing Qilin sword and the great destruction spear collided, producing an earth-shaking sound. Many people's bodies swayed. Mo and the others turned pale and retreated frantically. It was too terrifying. In the sky, half of the sky had turned into a terrifying black hole, rumbling nonstop, and flashes of lightning flashed within. The other half of the sky instantly collapsed. The two forces clashed in the sky. After the first attack, the two continued to attack. Damn it, I can't do anything to him. Han Fei's face sank. He opened his mouth and spat out a large bell. Undying thunderous roar! The huge bell in the sky shook violently. Runes appeared on its surface and surged in all directions like a tide. Saint runes! Someone screamed. No, this is not an ordinary saint's rune. Finally, a grand elder cried out in alarm. The saint's runes also contained power that was close to the Tao. What? How could he have such a thing? Many heaven rankers were shocked, their faces pale. There were also elders who said that the runes of saints were engraved by saints and were mysterious and profound. Ordinary invincible kings could only erupt with a portion of their power, but it was already very terrifying. They could laugh at the world. However, if it was activated by a half-saint, then it would release an even more terrifying power. If it was activated by a true saint, then it would be no different from a Tao pattern law. Therefore, although they were all saints' runes, the power would be different if the user was different. At this moment, in Han Fei's hands, it naturally displayed a power that was close to the Tao. Buzz! Buzz! Heaven and earth were everywhere, and all living things were huge. The terrifying sound waves were like thousands of soldiers and horses galloping. Clang! Clang! Puff! Many people vomited blood, and some people's weapons directly shattered, turning into scrap iron and falling to the ground. Retreat quickly! These people retreated crazily. The sound waves were too terrifying and could destroy everything. Waves of sound waves rushed forward. Annihilation Green Lotus, 7th Sword. Lin Xian shouted coldly and slashed down. The biting cold sword Qi with the power of annihilation slashed at the sound waves. The sound waves were like a tide. After touching the sword Qi, they quickly dissipated. It was useless. You could block it for a while, but you couldn't block it forever. Han Fei was abnormally strong. Above his head, the eternal demon bell quickly attacked. It's over. Lin Xian is in danger. Yes, he only had a power that was close to the Tao. But now, Han Fei took out the eternal demon bell, and the power it released was not weaker than the Tao. It was equivalent to 2 against 1. How could Lin Xian resist? Unless he also had such a treasure, or used a saint's rune. Otherwise, he was really in danger. Was Lin Xian going to be defeated? Lin Xian took a deep breath. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared and superimposed on the power of annihilation. In the next moment, he used the green lotus sword art again. Annihilation Green Lotus, 9th Sword. Buzz! Buzz! 9 huge sword Qi intertwined in the sky, forming a lotus that bloomed quickly. The petals with the power of annihilation spun out and collided with the eternal demon bell. With a clang, the eternal demon bell was sent flying. The sound waves that filled the sky were shattered. Puff! Han Fei was hit and spurted out a mouthful of blood. At this moment, his expression changed drastically. The lotus in the sky enveloped him and a terrifying power acted on his body, causing the lightning around him to disappear rapidly. Damn it! Get lost! Han Fei roared and the power of annihilation burst out, bombarding the surroundings. However, he still underestimated the sword. After superimposing the power of the great dragon sword soul, its power was much stronger than before. Therefore, Han Fei was soon engulfed. The entire space had completely collapsed. How could it be? Han Fei couldn't block it. What was going on? The Sky Pride screamed in horror. The people of Divine Tactics Peak were stunned. It shouldn't be. Han Fei had the upper hand after taking out the Eternal Demon Bell. Logically speaking, he should be able to defeat his opponent in a short time. But why did he end up in such a dangerous situation? How did that kid do it? The elders of Ethereal Peak and Exquisite Peak frowned. His power of annihilation had increased again. Could it be that he didn't use his full strength before? They sucked in a breath of cold air when they thought of this possibility. In front of them was a chaotic void. Finally, the terrifying power of annihilation slowly disappeared. A figure flashed out of the void. This figure was in a miserable state. Half of his body had disappeared, and his body was dyed red with blood. His handsome face was pale and his eyes were filled with shock. Damn it! How could you be so powerful? This person was Han Fei. After seeing Han Fei's state, everyone was stunned. Even Yu Linglong's pupils shrank. Han Fei actually suffered such a heavy injury. How could this be? The northern demon sucked in a deep breath, and his expression was grave. As for the others, they were completely stunned. Chapter 3091. You've lost. Lin Xian looked at Han Fei and said indifferently, "Kid, I admit that you're very strong. Your last attack almost killed me. You even injured me severely. But I haven't lost yet. There's still one more move that I haven't used yet." Han Fei's body quickly reassembled, and his face was incomparably pale. "I originally planned to use this move against the North Demon, but I didn't expect to use it against you. However, you should be proud of yourself. You'll be defeated by this move. Han Fei still has a trump card." Everyone exclaimed in surprise. The elders of the Divine Will Peak were also excited. Could it be that it's another move? This is great. If Han Fei used that move, he would definitely be able to defeat this brat. It could even threaten the North Demon. He still has a trump card? Lin Xian was also stunned. Then, he smiled and said, "Just use whatever you have. I'll take it." Han Fei didn't say anything. He condensed the Great Destruction Spear again, and a terrifying destructive power suppressed the surroundings. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. "The Great Destruction Spear is useless against me." Indeed, the results of the previous battle had already shown that his strength was above Han Fei's. However, Han Fei didn't say anything. Instead, he took out another item. It was a small bottle that was crystal clear like white jade. After he opened it, he poured out a drop of blood. As soon as the blood came out, the surrounding space trembled violently, and countless cracks appeared. It couldn't withstand it at all. There were even sparkling lights flickering in the blood, bringing with it shocking power. What kind of blood is this? Everyone's heart trembled, and even their souls shook. The elders of the Divine Will Peak were extremely excited. Half-saint blood. He finally took out that thing. What? Half-saint blood. What is he going to do? Everyone exclaimed. Half-saints had already condensed law fragments, which surpassed the power of the Tao. Their blood naturally contained law fragments. A drop of half-saint blood could kill any invincible king. Could it be that Han Fei wanted to use half-saint blood to kill Lin Xian? However, with Lin Xian's speed and the power of annihilation, he should be able to dodge it. This was indeed the case. It was very difficult for one drop of blood to kill Lin Xian. Only a large amount of semi-sage blood could threaten to kill Lin Xian. However, to everyone's surprise, Han Fei did not kill Lin Xian. Instead, he fused with the Great Destruction Spear in his hand. In the next moment, a shocking change occurred. Streaks of blood-red light appeared on the surface of the Great Destruction Spear, and its power suddenly skyrocketed. The entire sky collapsed completely as an extremely ferocious power surged out. Even the surrounding formations were trembling violently. Despair filled the faces of the martial artists inside the array. This power? Heavens, is this the law? It was too terrifying. Even the elders felt their scalps go numb. Who would have thought that Han Fei would actually fuse the Tao of Destruction with the half-saint's blood and erupt with even more shocking power? The power of the fusion of the semi-sage blood and the Great Destruction Spear was terrifying. It had already surpassed the power displayed by Lin Xian. Therefore, when everyone felt this power, their expressions all changed. Oh no, Lin Xian was in danger. Yes, they did not expect Han Fei to have such a trump card. Lin Xian had already seriously injured Han Fei before. He was about to win, but he did not expect to make a comeback at the last moment. Boy, you have no chance! Han Fei shouted coldly. He leaped high, and the blood-red Great Destruction Spear in his hand charged straight down. Lin Xian frowned. He felt a great threat. The blood of a semi-sage? He actually had such a trump card. Indeed, this strike had surpassed the previous one. But so what? Lin Xian smiled. The previous attack was the 9th sword of the Green Lotus Sword technique. The Green Lotus Sword technique had a total of 13 swords. The 13th sword combined with the power of annihilation was something that Han Fei had not seen before. Well, he would let these people see it. Buzz! Annihilation Green Lotus, the 13th sword. Lin Xian waved his long sword, sweeping across the 9 heavens. 13 streaks of sword chi flew out with the power of annihilation, forming a sword chi lotus in the sky. It collided with the blood-stained Great Destruction Spear. The aura of the lotus had become stronger again. It was much stronger than the previous one. Heavens, Lin Xian also had a hidden trump card. Everyone was stunned. Han Fei's pupils shrank. He did not expect his opponent to become stronger again. It even made him tremble. He felt the Great Destruction Spear in his hand tremble, as if it would vanish at any time. Damn it! No! Be destroyed! With a roar, he desperately activated his power and stabbed down. Endless light burst out, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 earths. No one could open their eyes. Only the peak masters of the 4 peaks, as well as the mansion master and the others, had their eyes piercing through the 9 heavens. It was not until a long time later that the light between heaven and earth gradually dissipated. Everyone hurriedly opened their eyes. How was it? How was the battle? Who won this battle? It was Lin Xian's Annihilation Lotus. Or the blood-stained Great Destruction Spear? I think it should be the Great Destruction Spear. The blood of a half-step saint combined with the path of destruction is too terrifying. It should be able to threaten a half-step saint. That might not necessarily be the case. Lin Xian's lotus sword chi was too terrifying. Its might was twice as strong as before. How on earth did he execute it? Everyone was discussing animatedly as they looked forward. In the next moment, their eyes widened. In the arena, Lin Xian's expression was calm. His bright red robe was spotless, and he stood with his hands behind his back. In front of him stood 2 figures. One of them was Han Fei. At this moment, Han Fei's face was pale. The Great Destruction Spear in his hand had long disappeared. Not only that, but one of his arms was also missing. Beside him stood an old man. It was the referee elder. The referee elder had made a move. What was going on? The surrounding prodigies were discussing animatedly. Someone exclaimed. Han Fei had lost. The referee elder had made a move at the critical moment, and saved his life. What? You're saying that the sword strike just now could threaten Han Fei's life? I'm afraid so. Everyone gasped in shock, and the elders sucked in a breath of cold air. The elder of the Divine Strategy Peak looked up and sighed. He had lost. The number 1 prodigy of the Divine Strategy Peak had actually lost. Lin Xian was too terrifying. How could this be? Han Fei's eyes were also empty. He still couldn't accept this fact. Indeed, although his Great Destruction Spear was stained with the blood of a half-step saint, it still couldn't withstand that shocking attack and disappeared in the end. Not only that, but the power of annihilation had also enveloped his entire body. In an instant, his entire right arm was gone. It was too powerful. It was so powerful that he couldn't withstand it at all. If this continued, he would be killed. Therefore, he could only admit defeat. A sword light flashed in the sky. The referee elder had made a move and destroyed the terrifying sword Chi Lotus, saving Han Fei. However, this also indicated that Han Fei had been completely defeated in this battle. Chapter 3092. Winner, Lin Xian. The judge announced the result, and at the same time, gave Han Fei a boost. Lin Xian really won. I'm not dreaming, am I? These people were stunned. The people of Full Moon Peak were also stunned. Then, they burst into cheers. Lin Xian actually won. Ha ha ha, our Full Moon Peak is going to produce a dragon this time. Han Fei is third. Lin Xian defeated Han Fei. Doesn't that mean that he's already in the top 3? The Sky Prides of Full Moon Peak were stunned. The elders were also extremely excited. The Grand Elder took a deep breath, his eyes red. Even the Peak Master of Full Moon Peak smiled. There was nothing they could do. Full Moon Peak had been quiet for too long. They had been suppressed to the last place. Even their number 1, Huangfu Beitian, was only ranked 5th in the entire Extraordinary Warrior Manor. When Full Moon Peak was mentioned, the people of the other 3 peaks were full of disdain and ridicule. Now, they could finally hold their heads high. Lin Xian displayed a power that was close to the Tao. He defeated Jun Wuya and Han Fei and successfully entered the top 3. This was their Full Moon Peak's moment. This was their Full Moon Peak's glory. At this moment, the entire Full Moon Peak fell into a sea of joy. He actually managed to enter the top 3. Huangfu Beitian took a deep breath and clenched his fists. Black Demon was even more in disbelief. To be honest, he didn't dare to provoke Lin Xian at all. He even had to avoid Lin Xian when he saw him. The other Sky Prides were even more shocked. For so many years, the top 3 of the Extraordinary Warrior Manor had been dominated by the North Demon, Yu Linglong, and Han Fei. The rankings were unshakable. They were like 3 mountains that pressed down on everyone's hearts. But now, someone had shaken one of the mountains. Moreover, it was a newcomer who had entered less than a year ago. This was simply a miracle, a legend. Han Fei was defeated? Yu Linglong took a deep breath. Her expression was extremely solemn. Lin Xian was the biggest threat to her apart from the North Demon. The North Demon also looked at Lin Xian. His eyes shone with a piercing light. Soon, we will be exchanging blows very soon. At that time, I will personally experience the strength of the successor of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The North Demon was becoming more and more interested in Lin Xian. He was eager to fight Lin Xian. Lin Xian's victory could be said to have created another legend. Everyone was excited, and only after a long discussion did they gradually calm down. Moreover, this was forcefully interrupted by the referee elder. Otherwise, he would probably be excited for 3 days and 3 nights. Brat, well done. After seeing Lin Xian walk down, the Crimson Dragon waved its claws and laughed, while Xinjingqiu clapped and cheered. At the side, Yi Fei, Xue Ling, Wang Qi, and the others came to congratulate him. Even Huangfu Beitian came. The Black Demon stood in the distance and struggled for a long time. In the end, he also came over and lowered his arrogant head. He first congratulated Lin Xian, then apologized to Lin Xian and admitted his previous rashness. This scene made everyone feel even more incredulous. Even the arrogant Black Demon lowered his head to Lin Xian. It could be said that Lin Xian's battle had convinced all the prodigies of the Full Moon Peak. He had become the champion of the Full Moon Peak. Lin Xian raised his head and looked into the distance. The champion of the Full Moon Peak? This was not what he wanted in the end. What he wanted was the champion of the House of Prodigy. The battle between Lin Xian and Han Fei made everyone excited and excited. Although the following battle was exciting, it was much worse than the previous battle. Everyone was a little uninterested. They really wanted to see a battle that was close to the power of the Tao again. Yes, that kind of power was the strongest power in the world. The other invincible kings were too far away. Everyone was looking forward to seeing that miraculous power again. Not long after, they burst into cries of surprise. This time, even the elders seemed to have been injected with chicken blood, and were extremely excited. The peak leader of Gale was also paying close attention. This time, it was another battle between two top prodigies. The North Demon against Yulinglong. This battle could be said to be more exciting than the previous battle between Lin Xian and Han Fei. The North Demon was the champion of the House of Prodigy. He was incomparably powerful. Yulinglong was the second champion of the House of Prodigy. Her strength was above Han Fei. Moreover, during this period of time, Yulinglong had been cultivating in seclusion. Her strength must have increased greatly. It could be said that the outcome of her battle with the North Demon was unknown. This battle could be said to be the most anticipated battle in the hearts of countless people. He wondered just how strong the North Demon was. Could Yulinglong counterattack and defeat the North Demon? If that was the case, then it would be worth watching. These people were excited. Lin Xian also revealed a smile. Could he finally see the full strength of the two of them? Well, let's see what kind of Tao they have comprehended. He had already seen the Tao of Jun Wuya and Han Fei. The battle in front of him could let him see the Tao of Northern Demon and Yulinglong. This would be of great help to him when he fought the two of them in the future. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you will never be defeated. In the arena, the two of them were 30 meters apart. The North Demon's body was slender, and his gaze was deep. He looked at the beautiful figure in front of him, and smiled faintly. Yulinglong, make your move. Let me see how much your strength has grown recently. North Demon, don't be careless. This time, my strength will definitely surprise you. Who knows, I might even be able to defeat you. Yulinglong's red lips parted slightly. Is that so? I'm looking forward to it. As he spoke, the North Demon waved his finger. Instantly, a ball of green light appeared around Yulinglong and enveloped her. Within the green light, countless plants grew out in a frenzy, completely enveloping Yulinglong within. This scene appeared very suddenly. Everyone was shocked because most of them had never seen the North Demon make a move before. Those who had fought with the North Demon before were all defeated without a fight. They did not dare to attack the North Demon at all. It could be said that this was the first time the crowd had seen the North Demon make a move. Plants. Could the North Demon be a wood elemental martial artist? Shouldn't wood elemental martial artists be used to heal life elemental martial artists? Many sky prides were confused. However, Han Fei, Jun Wuya, Huangfu Beitian, and the others' expressions were extremely grave. The North Demon really made a move. They were not surprised because they had fought with the North Demon before and knew that he was a wood elemental martial artist. However, they did not agree with the crowd's thoughts. Were wood elemental martial artists only supposed to heal and assist? What a joke! When these people saw how terrifying the North Demon was, they would change their view of wood elemental martial artists. Lin Xian's pupils constricted and his face was filled with shock. Wood elemental martial artist? That was rare. They did not expect the North Demon to be a wood elemental martial artist. Then was the power that he had comprehended close to the Tao related to wood elemental plants. In the arena, Yulinglong was already enveloped by those plants. It was so terrifying that the green light covered her. Yulinglong was not afraid at all. She formed a seal with her palms. Instantly, a gust of wind surged from her body and blew away the surrounding plants. In the next moment, she rose into the air. Her clothes and black hair fluttered in the wind. North Demon, there is no need for us to test each other. Just show me your true strength. Yulinglong's voice rang out. Chapter 3093. Wind Kill. Yulinglong's aura instantly changed. It became incomparably ethereal, as if it had merged with the wind. A violent wind blew in all directions, and large cracks appeared all over the place. The law of wind, this was the power of the law of wind. Yulinglong had actually comprehended this power. Many people screamed. Lin Xian was also surprised. The power of wind? Wind type against wood type, this was going to be interesting. That's what I was thinking. Facing the extremely powerful storm, The North Beast was not afraid at all. He waved his hand. With a boom, the sky split open. A huge black shadow filled the sky, flickering with a terrifying aura like a hill. What was that? Feeling the terrifying aura and majestic power, everyone raised their heads. In the next moment, they screamed. It was a plant! It was a tree! A divine tree appeared between heaven and earth, growing in the void. Vast branches and vines covered the sky and the earth, stretching for hundreds of thousands of miles. It was too mysterious, like a myth. The wood of 10,000 demons. The North Beast did not hold back at all. Jun Wuya's expression was solemn, and his voice was trembling. Although he was the second strongest of ethereal peak, he was still afraid of the North Beast. Han Fei said coldly. How could he hold back? People at their level would definitely go all out. The wood of 10,000 demons, how would Yu Linglong resist? Logically speaking, as a lightning-type warrior who had comprehended the Tao of lightning, he should be able to suppress wood-type attacks. But at this moment, facing the wood of 10,000 demons, his face was pale without a trace of blood. That was really shocking. The wood of 10,000 demons? Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he was shocked. This divine tree was really too terrifying. It displayed an extremely powerful strength and exuberant vitality. With this divine tree, the North Beast would probably be able to recover no matter how injured he was. It was practically immortal. Unless he could kill the North Beast in one strike, but he knew that it was impossible. Even he could not do it at the moment. Perhaps even a half-sage could not do it. Perhaps only a true sage could kill the North Beast in one strike when using a true law divine ability. Has it appeared? The wood of 10,000 demons. Yu Linglong floated in the void, looking at the huge object that was like a divine city above her head. Her eyes sparkled. Her body also began to tremble slightly. In the next moment, she let out a delicate cry, and a huge storm appeared around her. It rushed into the clouds, and two wind blades that were thousands of miles long slashed into the sky. Illusory wind. At the same time, she charged toward the northern monster. She knew that only by defeating the northern monster would the terrifying tree in the sky disappear. Wind blades filled the sky like a rain of light. He sent it out. Every single one of them was incomparably terrifying. It was comparable to a peak heaven-step treasure. This was a power that was close to the Tao. It was far beyond ordinary divine abilities. A wind blade. He could easily kill invincible kings. They covered the sky and covered the earth as they charged towards the North Demon. The Northern Demon didn't dodge at all. With a wave of his hand, the tree of 10,000 demons hung down from the sky. In front of him, plants grew wildly. The wind ninjas were also trembling. On top of those wind blades, beautiful flowers actually bloomed one after another. The power of those wind blades was completely absorbed by the demonic flower and dissipated into the void. In an instant, the entire sky was filled with demonic flowers. It was exceptionally beautiful. It was so beautiful. The women exclaimed in admiration. However, the top prodigies felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. The northern monster's Tao of wood was extremely terrifying. Humph, this is my brother's power. Qing Wu raised her small face, her face full of excitement. She was very clear about her brother's strength. Previously, there were 3 peak-stage invincible kings who had chased after the northern demon. However, the bodies of those 3 peak-stage invincible kings split open, and countless plants grew out of them. They were forcefully sucked dry. Who said that wood-type martial artists could only save people? Her brother, the northern demon, could easily kill any invincible king. In the sky, the 2 powers that were close to the Tao collided violently. The plants in the sky grew wildly, and a terrifying storm erupted. Seeing this, everyone was terrified. This divine ability was comparable to a half-step saint. These 2 people were incredible. Their strength far surpassed Jun Wuya and Han Fei's. They wondered how Lin Xian would fare if he encountered these 2. It would be difficult. Although Lin Xian's power was strong, it was probably not comparable to these 2. Especially the northern demon. His Tao of wood and Tao of wood were too terrifying. No one would be able to break through it. The wind blew for 90,000 miles. With a furious roar, the sky was torn apart, and the power that was close to the Tao filled the world. The scene was too terrifying. The storm was like two giant dragons dancing in the sky, shattering the entire sky. The tree of 10,000 demons in the sky rumbled and trembled. It had erupted. Yu Linglong was probably going to use her trump card. Han Fei and Jun Wuya both exclaimed. The wind blew for 90,000 miles, flattening everything in the world. A terrifying divine ability enveloped the entire area. Even the faces of the elders changed. This Yu Linglong was incredible. That was. The elder of Linglong Peak was proud. Yu Linglong's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. This time, she would definitely be able to defeat the Northern Demon. Facing such a terrifying divine ability, the Northern Demon was unusually calm. He did not panic at all. He waved his hand and pointed at the void. Divine tree descend. Boom! 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 The tree that was like a divine city in the sky quickly descended. With a powerful aura, it cut the two giant dragon storms in half. Wind-binding kill. The collision in the sky continued, but Yu Linglong still used the blitz of wind to arrive behind the Northern Demon. A green longsword appeared in her hand. It pulsed with multicolored light, and an extremely mysterious power flickered on it. It was condensed with a power that was close to the Tao. Under this attack, any top-tier armor would be shattered. Nothing could stop it. The divine tree bloomed. Sensing the danger behind him, the Northern Demon shouted coldly, and suddenly turned around. His eyes shone with a cold light. The divine tree in the sky unleashed its power, and countless petals bloomed. Not only that, but demonic flowers also appeared beside the Northern Demon. They absorbed the opponent's energy, and resolved the danger of the sword. It's useless. This sword is too close. You're too late. Yu Linglong cried out and waved her jade-like hand. Sword, she split the earth and the sky. The sword was about to pierce through the Northern Demon. The Northern Demon smiled. Open! His voice was cold. In the next moment, Yu Linglong's body trembled and she almost fell from the sky. The long sword in her hand, which was condensed with a power that was close to the Tao, could not be held firmly. Puff! Yu Linglong's expression changed. She spat out a mouthful of blood, and her body swayed. Everyone screamed as if they had seen a ghost. Even Han Fei and Jun Wuya were trembling. Xin Jingqiu cried out. Her face was pale. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. What was that? Chapter 3094. He saw a flower bloom on Yu Linglong's body. It was a flower as beautiful as blood. The flower was very small at first, only the size of a palm, but it kept absorbing Yu Linglong's power, vitality, and blood qi. It kept growing. In the end, it was as big as a millstone. Yu Linglong's face quickly turned pale as she lost her strength. He let out a loud scream. Tens of thousands of sharp multicolored lights rushed out from his body, shattering this beautiful flower that was as red as blood. In the next moment, she fled thousands of miles away, not daring to approach the North Demon again. How did you do that? Yu Linglong's expression was filled with fear. At that time, a power that was close to the Tao surrounded her body, but the North Demon could bloom a flower in her body. Didn't that mean that the North Demon's power far surpassed hers? He had suppressed her power. She couldn't believe it. You're not my match. The North Demon stood with his hands behind his back. He looked like a peerless demon king. Humph! Yu Linglong snorted coldly. Although she was injured and lost her strength, she wasn't willing to admit defeat just like that. He reached out his hand and pressed it into the void. Instantly, the plant defense around the North Demon exploded into pieces. For a moment, there was nothing around the North Demon. Yu Linglong shouted as she reached out with her hand again. A powerful storm instantly enveloped the North Demon. The storm appeared too suddenly. Even the elders screamed in fright. She had comprehended the law of wind to such a level. It was silent and impossible to guard against. That's right. Not many invincible kings were able to stop him. Boom! 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 The palm of wind exploded. The destructive power completely annihilated the North Demon. She had succeeded. Yulinglong revealed a smile. Although the North Demon was strong, he was still careless under her law of wind. Her grand wind handprint was definitely capable of injuring her opponent. The surrounding people exclaimed. Was the North Demon injured? Even such a powerful Northern Demon was injured. This Yulinglong was too terrifying. Han Fei and Jun Wuya were shocked. Yulinglong's strength had increased beyond their imagination. Especially Han Fei. He smiled bitterly. He realized that he didn't have any confidence in defeating Yulinglong. Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and golden light appeared. Was the North Demon really injured? He remained doubtful. In the distance, Qin Wu looked up and snorted coldly. What do you know? My brother's power isn't something you can imagine. In the sky, the countless storms slowly dissipated, revealing a figure. Everyone looked over. In the next moment, they were stunned. Yulinglong screamed. She was not injured. How was that possible? How could his grand palm of wind not hit the other party? Did he miss? No, he should have been hit. What was the North Demon was wearing? Lin Xian's eyes. Green vines covered the Northern Demon's body, forming a green vine armor that covered his body. The green vine armor actually had such a thing? Yulinglong screamed. Wasn't it already extinct? How could it still exist in this world? Green Demon Rattan? What was that? Qin Wu. An elder exclaimed. That was a mutated species. Rumor had it that it had disappeared during the ancient era. How could it be in the North Demon's hands? The Green Demon Vine was extremely terrifying. It grew crazily, and its vitality was extremely strong. It was said that a single Green Demon Vine had destroyed a world of stars. It had sucked all the energy from that world of stars dry. That world of stars had become a dead planet. There were no longer any living things there. There were very few green demon vines, but during the ancient era, there had been a great disaster. Hundreds of worlds had been completely corroded and were in danger of being destroyed. Fortunately, there was still a Darch around. With a wave of his hand, the green demon vine was completely destroyed. Could it be that the Darch didn't kill all the green demon vines back then? Instead, he left a few behind? Everyone was puzzled. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard that. A single plant could destroy an entire world? Why did this sound like something out of a fantasy story? If it was before, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. However, when he saw the Dark Star ruins being split apart by a sword, he knew. Destroying a world was not a difficult task in the eyes of those super experts. After all, a world was just a planet. For those super sages, it shouldn't be difficult to pick the sun and moon with their hands, swallow the sun, and split the stars with their swords. Moreover, there were thearchs above those super sages. Rumor had it that the green demon vine had destroyed dozens of worlds, but it was destroyed by a Darch from afar. How imposing was this? How powerful was this? Lin Xian was extremely excited just thinking about it. Lin Xian was excited, but Yulinglong, who was in the sky, was not excited at all. Her face was pale, and she was about to cry. That was an extinct mutated species. How did the North Demon get his hands on it? If it was really the green demon vine, why would she fight? The entire world would be in danger? The elders were also worried. The green demon vine in the North Demon's hands was a potential disaster. The Misty Peak leader looked into the void and shook his head slightly. There was no need to worry. It was just a dead green demon vine. A dead green demon vine? Many elders heaved a sigh of relief. However, the palace lord frowned slightly. Although those green demon vines were dead, the North Demon Vine was a demonic beast. But don't forget, Northern Fey had the body of 10,000 Fey. These branches of the green demonic vine might be able to regenerate in his hands. Of course, it was not an easy task to revive the green demonic vines that had been dead for countless years and had even gone extinct. It was not certain if the North Demon could do that. Because he was wearing the green demon vine armor, the North Demon was not injured by that attack. He looked forward and said coldly, "It's over." He waved his finger, and the power of wood erupted. 7 rays of light flew out and surrounded Yu Linglong. In an instant, the 7 rays of light bloomed into 7 flowers. Red, orange, red, green, blue, indigo, purple. 7 different colors bloomed in the sky and coiled around each other. The 7-flower formation! Han Fei exclaimed. Yu Linglong looked as if she was facing a great enemy. The wind rises for 90,000 miles, and the sword shakes the 9 states. She once again activated the power that was close to the Tao. The sky split open, and the wind above 90,000 miles floated down and formed a huge green sword in her hand. It was like an azure dragon that pierced into the clouds. Everyone was terrified. That was the astral wind, but Yu Linglong could control it. The astral wind was the wind of the outer realm. It was extremely terrifying and could even injure a half-saint. Once an invincible king encountered it, he would definitely be killed instantly. This should be Yu Linglong's final trump card. Could she break the 7-flower formation? Was she going to risk her life? The North Demon looked at the huge green sword in the sky. His gaze was focused. In the next moment, he snorted coldly and formed a seal with his palms. The 7-flower formation could take away everything. Chapter 3095. 7 bewitching flowers bloomed in the air, emitting mysterious runes. The 7-flower formation released a powerful energy that shrouded the area in front of it. In an instant, the void shattered and the spiritual chi between heaven and earth was sucked dry. Yu Linglong's body trembled. She felt that her chi, blood, and energy were about to be sucked dry. In the next moment, she no longer dared to hesitate. She waved her hand and the green-red wind sword that was tens of thousands of miles long slashed down. Boom! 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 That sword was too terrifying. Green light filled the sky and a storm blew. Fortunately, there was an array protecting it. Otherwise, the entire outstanding warrior manor would have been destroyed. However, what was even more shocking was that such a stunning sword could not withstand the 7-flower formation. The 7 demonic flowers in the 7-flower formation grew crazily and took away all energy. Although the green-red wind sword was terrifying, it was drained of energy by the 7-flower formation and instantly dimmed. Gradually it became tens of thousands of miles long, and then thousands of miles long. In the end, it disappeared. The 7 flowers grew into monstrous beasts. Each of them was like a majestic mountain that stood in the void. The 7-flower formation was originally formed by the 7 flowers. Now that the 7 flowers had grown into huge beasts, the power of the 7-flower formation had also increased exponentially. Yu Linglong, who was trapped by the array, trembled. Her face was pale and bloodless. In the next moment, she fell from the sky and could not even stand up. The energy in her body had been completely drained. What? At this moment, everyone was shocked. The elders of Linglong Peak screamed. Linglong! They did not expect Yu Linglong to be defeated and stripped of all her energy. I admit defeat. Yu Linglong fell on the arena and said weakly. She did not even have the energy to speak now. The winner was the North Beast of Misty Peak. The judge quickly announced the result. After hearing the result, the North Beast descended from the sky and waved his hand. The 7 demonic flowers in the sky spun rapidly, and endless energy poured into Yu Linglong's body. Soon, Yu Linglong recovered and the 7 demonic flowers disappeared. The tree of 10,000 demons in the sky also slowly dissipated. The North Beast descended from the sky like a demon. Had his energy recovered? Yu Linglong sensed her body and did not feel happy. Instead, she smiled bitterly. Too powerful! The North Demon was truly like a demon in front of her. With a flip of his hand, he could summon clouds and rain with a flip of his hand. He had her life and death in his hands. This feeling was really unpleasant, but there was nothing she could do. It seemed like no one would be able to defeat the North Demon this time. As expected of the number one in the House of Prodigy, the others screamed in shock. The Northern Demon was too strong, so strong that they trembled. They couldn't resist at all. In their opinion, either Yu Linglong nor Han Fei were qualified to fight against the North Demon. Is this the first place of our House of Prodigy? He was simply too powerful. The Northern Yao had long since entered the ancient starry sky path, and he had fought against the prodigies of the other worlds. Moreover, he had established an illustrious reputation for himself. Looking at it now, it was indeed true. Who told me that the wood element was only a martial artist who could heal and assist? I'll slap him to death. F***ck, this is the first time I know that a wood attribute martial artist is actually so terrifying. I reckon that if a flower were to grow on my body, it would instantly suck me dry. The geniuses were trembling in fear. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he clenched his fists. The myriad demon body, the Tao of wood. He was simply too shocked. He didn't expect the North Demon to be so strong. However, at the same time, he was extremely excited. He had finally found an opponent who was worthy of his full strength. Previously, either Jun Wuyan nor Han Fei could make him use his full strength. After all, he had only used the power of annihilation. He still had the power of smoke and fire that he hadn't used. Moreover, he had the great dragon sword soul. It could be said that Lin Xian had only used half of his strength previously. Now that he had seen the North Demon's strength, he was very excited. Perhaps only the North Demon could force him to unleash his full power. The competition continued. During this period, Yu Linglong encountered Han Fei again. In the end, Yu Linglong won. Han Fei's expression wasn't very good. If nothing had happened previously, he would still be in third place. However, this time, Lin Xian had appeared. If this continued, he would only be in fourth place. He couldn't even enter the top 3? The people from Divine Providence Peak were also in despair. They couldn't accept this result. Didn't that mean that they would be in last place this year? The elders' expressions were also dark. This position had always belonged to Full Moon Peak. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would appear from Full Moon Peak this time. Shui Jiyue, He Mo, Huangpu Beitian, and the others were even more bitter. Because other than Lin Xian, Zhong Lingxiu and Xin Jingqiu had also appeared. The two of them were extremely powerful. They were second only to Jun Wuya and the others. In other words, apart from those who were close to the Tao, no one was a match for them. The spectating Sky Prides were stunned. There would be a huge change in the rankings this year. Yes, the top 3 had changed hands. The top 10 would probably be shaken as well. The first echelon was Lin Xian, who had cultivated close to the Tao. The second echelon was even more shaken. The top 2 positions in the second echelon would be taken by Xin Jingqiu and Zhong Lingxiu. Huangfu Beitian, Shui Jiyue, Mo Tian, and He Mo were probably going to have to stand at the back. Lin Xian was also very happy. He was naturally happy that Xin Jingqiu could achieve such results. Moreover, Xin Jingqiu had yet to comprehend close to the Tao. If Xin Jingqiu comprehended that power, in addition to her spiritual body, she would probably be able to defeat Yu Linglong. This little girl's potential was definitely super strong. Lin Xian decided that after the competition was over, he would make a copy of his Tao insights and give it to Xin Jingqiu so that she could comprehend close to the Tao as soon as possible. The competition was gradually coming to an end. Currently, only Lin Xian and the Northern Demon were victorious. Lin Xian and Yu Linglong had also exchanged blows. The two of them had fought until the heavens and the earth cracked. In the end, Lin Xian defeated Yu Linglong. As for him, he had only used the power of the Annihilation Dragon Sword Soul. He had not used the Law of Fire. Yu Linglong's delicate face was covered with ice. She had not expected that besides losing to the Northern Demon, she would lose to Lin Xian. Didn't this mean that she had fallen to third place? Han Fei was even more miserable. He was indeed fourth. This Lin Xian was too strong. He could even defeat the second-place Yu Linglong. Most likely, only the northern demon would be able to subdue him. Damn it, how could eldest senior sister be defeated? The people from Linglong Peak did not dare to believe it. The elders also had ugly expressions. They were not surprised that Yu Linglong had lost to the northern demon, because they had seen the northern demon's strength many times. However, losing to Lin Xian was still difficult for them to accept. Although Lin Xian had comprehended the plenilin wordless steel, although Lin Xian had displayed great strength and defeated Jun Wuya and Han Fei. However, Lin Xian's rise had been too short. It had only been a few months. For a moment, it was hard for them to accept. Chapter 3096. But no matter how hard it was to accept, they couldn't change this fact. Lin Xian had indeed defeated Yu Linglong with his strength. They didn't expect that after Northern Monster, Lin Xian would appear. How would he compare to Northern Monster? Probably not. Northern Monster's 1,000-monster body and wood laws were just too terrifying. Not only was Northern Monster's attack powerful, but his recovery speed was also terrifying. Once the 1,000-monster wood descended, it gave Northern Monster a strong life force. Northern Monster was already in an invincible position. The elders discussed while the others were also guessing. They were looking forward to the battle between Lin Xian and Northern Monster, because they knew that the two of them would definitely fight. The first place would be decided between the two of them. However, most of the people had high hopes for the North Demon. After all, the North Demon was way too strong. His name had long been etched into the hearts of the people. Even though Lin Xian was a newly risen genius, he was still lacking in comparison to the North Demon. All of a sudden, 99% of the people thought that Northern Monster would win. Only Shinjingqiu, Crimson Dragon, and a few others believed in Lin Xian. Hearing the discussions around him, Lin Xian looked at the North Demon. The North Demon also looked at him. Their gazes clashed in the air, shattering the void. Come! Lin Xian leaped up and stood in the air, pointing his sword forward. Northern Monster, come out and fight. As you wish. Northern Monster stepped into the air and arrived on the arena. Their domains charged out. Lin Xian's sword energy turned into a world of sword Dao. On the other side, countless plants danced behind Northern Monster, forming a forest. Their domains clashed, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The powerful storm caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Han Fei and Yu Linglong's breathing quickened. They didn't dare to be careless. Northern Monster waved his hand and countless trees grew around Lin Xian. They covered the sky and charged toward Lin Xian. These plants weren't normal. They all had the strength of a monster king. Boom! Boom! Those branches and vines stabbed towards Lin Xian, wanting to pierce Lin Xian's body and suck his blood and strength dry. However, when these attacks collided with Lin Xian's body, a low sound was heard. Then, these branches all broke and turned into fragments, scattering in the void. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian's body shone with boundless light. He stood there motionlessly, allowing the branches to attack him. He was unscathed. Everyone's mouth twitched. Those elders were also stunned. This physique was too strong, worthy of being the 9-yang divine body. Why do I feel like there aren't many invincible kings who can hurt him? Lin Xian flicked the dust off his body. Then, he reached out with his golden hand and tore apart all the trees in the surrounding forest. Bring out the power that is close to the Tao. Lin Xian looked at him. 9-yang divine body? He was indeed valiant. His eyes flickered and his expression was filled with excitement. Different from Yu Linglong, this Lin Xian was someone he cared about very much. The other party was the successor of the Great Dragon and the successor of the 9-yang divine body. It could be said that his potential was unparalleled. At this moment, he found that the 9-yang divine body was very hard. His ordinary attacks couldn't penetrate the other party at all. He could only use the power that was close to the Tao. He formed a seal with his palm and with a low shout, the void split open. The shocking tree of 10,000 demons descended once again. It covered the sky and covered the earth like a demon city. Lin Xian waved his hand. On his golden palm, the 9-yang divine fire jumped out. He didn't use the law of fire. Instead, he only relied on the flames in his body. Endless flames burned and turned into a giant dragon. It roared towards the sky and charged towards the tree of 10,000 demons. Fire was the nemesis of the wood element. Would the northern demon be able to withstand it? Countless people were nervous. Indeed, wood countered fire. Wood-type martial artists were most afraid of fire. However, that wasn't necessarily the case. If an ordinary fire-type martial artist faced a powerful wood-type martial artist, they wouldn't be a threat at all. Instead, their energy would be sucked dry. It was the same for Han Fei from before. Lightning-type martial artists also countered wood-type martial artists. However, in front of the northern demons, Han Fei couldn't fight back at all. Could the current Lin Xian pose a threat to the north demon with his flames? They didn't know. It's useless. You underestimate me too much. Take out your power that's close to the Tao. The northern demons shook his head slightly. In the sky, the tree of 10,000 demons swayed. Countless vines and flowers bloomed, sucking the flames dry. In the next moment, the northern demon's eyes suddenly shone with a cold light. Since you're not willing to take it out, I'll force you to. With a wave of his hand, the tree of 10,000 demons in the sky exploded. Endless vines fell and covered the entire sky. The terrifying demonic vines quickly bloomed and swept towards Lin Xian in a dense mass. It was as if the entire world had turned into a forest. The descent of the divine tree brought with it a terrifying power. Countless voids collapsed. The tree branches streaked across the sky like streaks of lightning. In front of the tree of 10,000 demons, Lin Xian was extremely small. Boom! 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 The flames on his body rose into the sky and bloomed. They turned into golden crows that spread their wings and rushed forward. The terrifying flames engulfed the heavens and the earth. The terrifying heat shook the void. The 9 golden crows were like 9 suns. They collided with the tree of 10,000 demons, bringing with them a sea of flames. The tree of 10,000 demons emitted a hazy green light. Its branches danced like divine spears. The 9 golden crows collided with each other. The 9 golden crows were instantly pierced through. The tree of 10,000 demons was unharmed. It's too powerful. It's simply a divine tree. Nothing can destroy it unless it's a true law. I think even the power that's close to the Tao can't destroy it. The northern demons are too terrifying. Is this the body of 10,000 demons? Buzz. In the distance, everyone was discussing. Soon they screamed. Because after the tree of 10,000 demons killed the flames of the 9 golden crows, its huge branches whipped Lin Xian's body like a giant dragon. This time, even the strongest invincible king would be split in half. Clang! An earth-shattering sound resounded like thunder. Lin Xian's body shone brightly. This time, he didn't dodge. Instead, he took it head-on. Golden runes shone on his body. He was unharmed. He's fine? Many people's eyes almost popped out. This kid's physique is too terrifying. Lin Xian was also a fierce person. His 9-yang divine body was powerful. Ordinary divine abilities probably couldn't hurt him. Only a power that was close to the Tao could hurt him. Flowers bloom for a lifetime. The northern demon wasn't surprised when he saw this scene. He pointed his finger forward. Buzz! Countless demonic flowers grew around Lin Xian, quickly absorbing his energy. Many of them even wanted to take root in his body and break his 9-yang divine body. Not good. It was this move that had injured Yu Linglong previously. Lin Xian was in danger. Yes, these demonic flowers were abnormally powerful. They could deprive all power. Lin Xian frowned slightly. He did feel that the surrounding spiritual energy was instantly sucked dry. Not only that, the blood in his body was also surging and rolling, trying to leave his body. Chapter 3097. What a strange power. Lin Xian frowned. He activated his great dragon sword soul and destroyed the strange power. The demonic flowers outside couldn't break his body, but it was dangerous if this continued. After all, the other party had already used the power of laws. Lin Xian sighed. It seemed like he had to use laws. He had already seen the North monsters with laws, so he didn't dare to be careless. Destroy! Golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes and he swept in all directions. Instantly, with him as the center, countless black cracks appeared and spread in all directions. Everywhere they passed, the demonic flowers quickly shrank and withered. In the end, they scattered and disappeared. Everyone's scalps went numb, and their bodies trembled. What kind of power was that? Why did it feel like Lin Xian was the death god who could take everything away? Once he used annihilation, he could turn everything into nothingness and cease to exist. The North monster was shocked. Although he had seen the other party's power of laws, he was still shocked when he personally experienced it. Indeed, the other party's move was similar to him forcefully taking power. However, the essence was different. He forcefully absorbed the demonic flowers to make them stronger, while the other party directly dissipated them. The power of annihilation? Interesting. Let's see if you are stronger or if I am stronger. 10,000 trees descended. The northern monster waved his finger, and the tree of 10,000 demons above his head rumbled as it descended. At the same time, the 10,000 demon tree seemed to have come alive. It grew quickly and the entire sky exploded, forming a forest. Hundreds of thousands of miles, millions of miles, it was densely packed and endless, covering Lin Xian. How terrifying! Was this the North monster's true strength? The geniuses trembled and the elders were terrified. Lin Xian also shouted coldly. He pulled out the fire Qilin sword and swung it to destroy the sword energy. Streaks of sword qi shot out in all directions with the power of annihilation. Everywhere it passed, the plants withered crazily. However, the descent of the 10,000 demon tree was too terrifying. It was densely packed and endless. He could only wave his sword energy again and again. In the end, he sent out a sword lotus that covered him. The terrifying sword spun and countless sword energy swept in all directions with the power of annihilation. The two forces that were close to the Tao clashed against each other. All the cultivators in the surroundings were stunned when they saw this. The reason for that was because the scene before them was simply too strange. In the sky, the forest rapidly grew. But with Lin Xian as the center, the surrounding dozens of miles was actually a vacuum zone. Under the power of annihilation, no plants could get close. Could it be that it would become a contest of strength? Who would be the first to give up? Who would fail? That might not be the case. The North Ya was too strong. Millions of miles of land had been transformed into a forest, while Lin Xian could only defend a few dozen miles. The difference was just too great. Moreover, Lin Xian was definitely inferior to the North Demon when it came to controlling power that was so close to the Tao. Lin Xian had only meditated for a few months, but how many years had the North monster been meditating for? This was a gap that could not be bridged. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, Jun Wuya, and the others were watching nervously. Lin Xian was strong, but the strength displayed by the Northern Demon made them tremble. Stinking brat, you're no match for my brother. Qing Wu also looked up and snorted coldly in her heart. The Crimson Dragon and Xin Jingqiu were extremely nervous. The North Demon frowned slightly. Was it blocked? He realized that although Lin Xian's space was much smaller than his million miles of forest, it was still blocked. However, he still managed to block it. Even if it was only 1 meter, he still couldn't pierce it. The divine tree bloomed. The North Demon formed another seal and roared. This time, a 7-colored flower bloomed from the tree of 10,000 demons. When this demonic flower bloomed, it covered the entire sky. It was too big. It was so big that one couldn't see the end of it. And the power of destruction that it brought was definitely much more terrifying. Oh no, Lin Xian is in danger! The Full Moon Peak's Grand Elder exclaimed. The others also felt their scalps go numb. As expected, the safe space that Lin Xian had created collapsed instantly and was instantly enveloped by countless plants. Lin Xian was also enveloped by the divine tree's flower. The 9-yang divine body tried its best to block. Although it did not shatter, the divine fire and light on it dimmed. It was like a flame that could be extinguished at any time. This power was too strong. Lin Xian was also shocked. The great dragon sword soul. With a cold roar, Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul and the power of annihilation. The two combined to form a dragon-shaped sword chi that quickly slashed in all directions. That was why he was able to survive. Otherwise, that attack would have sucked away most of his power. Annihilation Sword Lotus, the 13th sword. He waved his long sword and formed a sword lotus. It carried the aura of annihilation and the great dragon sword soul and exploded quickly. The lotus jumped from the sword blade and suddenly grew bigger. The lotus bloomed and formed a terrifying scene. It quickly fought against the divine tree's flower in the sky. Boom! Boom! When Lin Xian was enveloped by the flower of 10,000 demons, everyone screamed. Among them, Han Fei, Yu Linglong and the others shook their heads. They thought that Lin Xian should have been defeated because they could not resist at all in front of this demonic flower. They thought that Lin Xian should not be able to resist it. However, in just an instant, they were dumbfounded. Lin Xian rushed out. Not only that, but he also brought with him a green lotus that was as powerful as the flower of 10,000 demons. The two powerful forces collided in the sky and the forest within 1,000,000 miles collapsed quickly. He actually resisted the divine tree's power of annihilation. How did he do it? Yu Linglong screamed. She had been injured before and naturally knew how terrifying this demonic flower was. However, not only did Lin Xian come out, but he could also resist the flower of 10,000 demons. His power of annihilation had become stronger again. It was several times stronger than before. Han Fei screamed too. He was in disbelief. Jun Hui's body trembled. What was going on? He had fought with Lin Xian before and lost. Even so, he thought that he was only slightly weaker than Lin Xian. However, from the looks of it, that was not the case. Lin Xian was much stronger than him. If Lin Xian fought with him and used such power right from the start, he probably would not be able to block even one attack. Indeed, the sword aura lotus in the sky could turn someone like Jun Hui into ashes with just one attack. Even the North Monster was surprised by Lin Xian's strength. Had he become stronger? And several times stronger. This kid had hidden so much of his strength before. It should be the effect of the Dragon Sword Soul. As expected of the Dragon Sword's successor, the North Monster immediately thought of the Dragon Sword Soul that was famous in the world. That was an unparalleled saint technique. Not to mention the power that was close to the path, even the trashiest martial arts could become an unparalleled attack under the effect of the Dragon Sword Soul. Not to mention the power that was close to the path. Suddenly his pupils constricted. Countless green vines surrounded his body and formed a set of armor. In the next moment, the ocean-like forest in front of him instantly shattered, forming a vacuum. A sword aura streaked across the void and slashed toward his glabella. Chapter 3098. Annihilation. This move was Lin Xian's self-created red dot and the power of annihilation. It could be said to be a peerless killing move. With a clang, the sword landed on the bronze armor and forced the North Demon back. The North Demon was forced back. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others exclaimed in disbelief. This was the first time they saw the North Demon being forced back. The others were even more shocked. Even someone as strong as Yu Linglong, who was ranked second, couldn't make the North Demon retreat. But now, Lin Xian actually forced the North Demon to retreat for more than 10 miles. Didn't that mean that Lin Xian's strength was far above Yu Linglong's? Heavens, this Lin Xian is really too strong, soaring to the skies in one go. Even if he lost, he was ranked second in the extraordinary scholar manner. Other than the North Demon, no one could compete with him. Brother! Qin Wu exclaimed. How could this kid do it? She didn't believe that Lin Xian could force her brother back. The North Demon stopped, and his face darkened. He was careless. If he didn't have the green vine armor, he would have been in danger. He's fine? Lin Xian frowned and felt disappointed. He thought that the sword would be able to hurt the North Demon. He didn't expect his opponent's armor to be so powerful. Was this the armor formed by the green demon vines? As expected of a mutated species that was destroyed by an emperor. It was indeed strong and not weaker than his 9-yang divine body. Lin Xian, I admit that you're strong. You're actually able to threaten me. But it's over now. Other than the power of wood and the tree of 10,000 demons, I still have the bloodline power of the 10,000 demons' body. Now I'll show you. The North Demon's voice resounded in all directions. The crowd below was in an uproar. What? Bloodline power? He didn't use it. Heavens, I thought the North Demon used all his strength. I didn't expect him to not use his bloodline power. These people were all crazy. The elders seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They knew how powerful bloodline power was. Once it was used, its power would increase exponentially. In that case, would Lin Xian be able to withstand it? The elders of the ethereal peak chuckled out. He was the North Demon indeed. To think that he had yet to unleash his full strength up till now. That Lin Xian had probably overdone it. That was for sure. That sword strike just now had used the power of the great dragon sword soul. He should have no more trump cards left. No matter how strong he wasn't Senior Brother North Monster's match. Those from the Misty Peak were agitated. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, Jun Wuya and the others were in despair. That's right, it was despair. The North Demon was too strong. He was so strong that they found it hard to resist him. Up until now, he had only just used his bloodline power. The people of the Full Moon Peak were also in despair. Lin Xian was already so strong, but the North Demon still hadn't used his full strength. It was over. Lin Xian was probably going to lose. He had thought that Lin Xian would be able to defeat the North Beast and take first place, making his name known throughout the Full Moon Peak. But now, it seemed that he could only take second place. Second place wasn't bad. Don't forget that the Full Moon Peak used to be last place. Now that he was in second place, second only to the Misty Peak, it was definitely an earth-shattering achievement. Even the First Elder and the Peak Leader let out a sigh. Indeed, Lin Xian had only cultivated for a short period of time. It was already beyond their expectations that he could fight the North Demon to this extent. In their opinion, Lin Xian could only defeat Han Fei and not Yu Linglong to take third place. Now that he had surpassed Yu Linglong and taken second place, they were already very happy. After all, Lin Xian had great potential. If he cultivated for another 8 to 10 years, he might really be able to suppress the North Demon. But now, he was still a little short. The elders and sky prides of the Divine Tactics Peak and Linglong Peak had the same thought. They felt that Lin Xian's current achievement was enough to make him proud. Lin Xian would be fine, right? Xinjingqiu was very nervous. The Crimson Dragon's expression was also very calm. He gritted his teeth and said, "Don't worry, this kid also has a trump card that he hasn't used yet. Just wait, these people will definitely piss their pants." The sky prides beside him shook their heads. Does he still have a trump card? That's impossible. He had already used the Dragon Sword Soul and 9-yang Divine Body. What other trump cards does Lin Xian have? A half-step Sage artifact? It was probably useless against the North Demon's bloodline power. Therefore, in their opinion, the Crimson Dragon was just being stubborn and refusing to admit it. In the sky, Lin Xian heard the discussion of the elders and sky prides. Second place? That wasn't what he wanted. Do you think the North Demon is the only one with a trump card? I also have a power that I haven't used yet. Now I'll show you my true power. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. On the other side, the Northern Demon's body emitted a misty green light. Green runes appeared on his skin, and his aura skyrocketed. In the sky, the tree of 10,000 demons and the flower of 10,000 demons became even more terrifying. With a boom, the flower of 10,000 demons shattered the sword of annihilation and once again enveloped Lin Xian in an even more powerful manner. It was too powerful. Its power had increased by too much. It shattered the lotus of annihilation formed by the 13 swords. Lin Xian would probably not be able to resist it. Unless he also had a heaven-defying bloodline power. Otherwise, this battle would have ended by now. The 4 judging elders shook their heads slightly and prepared to save Lin Xian at any time. It was over. The North Demon looked down at the scene below, and a smile appeared on his face. He had seen how powerful the successor of the Great Dragon was, and it shocked him. However, the other party was too young. He would only be able to contend against him after cultivating for a few decades or even 100 years. However, by then, he would have been much further ahead. Countless sighs sounded in the sky. They were the sighs of the elders. As far as they were concerned, this battle was over. However, the estate master was shocked. Something was not right. His eyes shone brightly as he stared at the scene below him. What was going on? The supreme elders behind him were stunned, and so were the rest of the people. Could it be that Lin Xian could turn the tables around? How was that possible? However, they soon saw an unforgettable scene. The flower of 10,000 demons broke the green lotus sword chi and completely enveloped Lin Xian. The battle was about to end. However, at that moment, a fiery red light suddenly appeared and quickly grew bigger. Whoosh! First, it was a small fire. Then, it swept across the sky and completely enveloped the flower of 10,000 demons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The flower of 10,000 demons kept spinning and releasing a terrifying power. The green light shone brightly and slashed in all directions like divine swords. However, the flames this time were not ordinary. They were extremely terrifying and turned into divine dragons that danced in the sky. They shattered all the green light. Chapter 3099. The flower of 10,000 demons was set ablaze. The North monster's eyes widened. How was that possible? He was truly stunned. The judge elder who wanted to save the North monster was also stunned. The elders and sky prides of the 4 peaks were also stunned. Their minds went blank. What was going on? 9 Suns' divine flame? How could Lin Xian's flame be so powerful? That was impossible. What did that kid use? Many people screamed like crazy. The peak leaders of the 4 peaks frowned. In the next moment, their eyes shone with a cold light. The full moon peak's peak leader was agitated. It wasn't the 9 Suns' divine flame, it was the power of Tao. Everyone went crazy when they heard that. What? The power of Tao? Didn't Lin Xian control the power of annihilation? How could he control the power of fire? Oh heavens, could it be that he had comprehended 2 powers that were close to Tao? Everyone was stunned. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others were also stunned. They couldn't accept it. How could someone comprehend 2 powers of law? To be honest, if a young man had comprehended 2 powers that were close to the Tao, it was simply a joke in their eyes. It wasn't worth hearing at all. But now, they saw it with their own eyes. After using the power of annihilation, Lin Xian used the power of fire. The monstrous flames burned the flower of 10,000 demons. How did he do it? Jun Wuya's body trembled. Han Fei and Yu Linglong's faces turned ugly. As for Huangfu Beiqian, He Mo, and the others, they were completely stunned. The power of fire, he had comprehended the Tao of fire. How was that possible? Qing Wu's face turned cold, and her body trembled. The Crimson Dragon grinned. I told you that this kid still has a trump card, but you didn't listen. Now you're scared to death. Indeed, he knew that Lin Xian had the power of fire. Therefore, although he was worried, he wasn't in despair. Qing Wu also heaved a sigh of relief. Great, brother Lin Xian is really strong. Amidst the shocked gazes of the crowd, the sword chi slashed out in all directions, burning the entire forest within 1,000,000 miles. The flower of 10,000 demons was also burned to ashes. Only the tree of 10,000 demons was still floating in the sky. I told you, I won't lose, Lin Xian said coldly as he looked at the North Demon. The North Demon came back to his senses and took a deep breath. His expression became extremely serious. The law of fire? He had never thought that the other party would have comprehended two types of laws. It was no wonder that the other party was not shocked when he saw him use his bloodline power. In fact, he did not even have the urge to dodge. So, this was the other party's trump card. I admit that the power of your bloodline is strong, but it's what attribute after all. On the other hand, I've comprehended the Tao of Fire, and with the addition of the Great Dragon Sword Soul, my bloodline isn't any weaker than yours. You can't win this battle because of your element's suppression. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. As he spoke, Lin Xian waved his sword qi. Accompanied by the power of fire, it soared into the sky and turned into a divine phoenix burning with flames of desire. Like a divine beast of heaven and earth, he flew forward. In an instant, the tree of 10,000 demons and the North Demon were both affected. The North Demon's armor blocked the flames. Although the tree of 10,000 demons was affected, its vitality was too strong. For a moment, it was not destroyed. It seemed that he could only use that move. Kid, you're strong, but take my strongest attack. The North Demon let out a long roar and released the sea of flames in the sky. He soared into the sky. At the same time, the tree of 10,000 demons in the sky quickly enveloped the North Demon. Buzz! The two collided and combined, causing countless green lights to erupt. The surrounding flames were all suppressed. It was too strong. Although it countered fire, the North Demon was too strong. He seemed to have the intention to counter it. Lin Xian's situation was not good. Yes, although Lin Xian had used the law of fire to suppress the North Demon had fused with the tree of 10,000 demons, and used his final trump card. He even blasted the flames in the sky away, causing the people of Ethereal Peak to scream again. They knew that the North Demon would not lose. Did he still have a trump card? The sea of flames around Lin Xian surged like a god born from fire. He looked up at the sky, at the light that was the fusion of the two. Very well. Let me see what your final trump card is. Lin Xian did not attack, nor did he destroy the fusion. He just waited quietly. This scene shocked the elders. Lin Xian was too calm and collected. Could it be that he was really full of confidence? Humph! Don't be arrogant. My brother's final trump card is not something you can block. Qing Wu waved her fist in the distance. In the sky, the North Demon's aura became colder and colder. The tree of 10,000 demons gradually became smaller. In the end, it completely fused with the North Demon. In the next moment, the green light dissipated and the North Demon's figure appeared. This was? When everyone saw the North Demon, they were all stunned. Because the North Demon now was completely different from before. Previously, the North Demon was slender, and his face was as white as a demon's. He was unusually handsome. But now, the North Demon was completely covered. Outside there was a giant tree with green vines wrapped around it. It held a shield and a giant sword. It was extremely tall, like a tree that had lived for tens of thousands of years. There was only a pair of cold eyes that flickered with stars. It was the North Demon's eyes. The North Demon and the tree of 10,000 demons had completely fused. Everyone swallowed their saliva. Buzz! In the sky, the North Demon raised the giant green sword and slashed down. The green sword light split open the heaven and earth, and even the sea of flames was split open, forming a vacuum zone. It actually destroyed the power of fire? Was he going to suppress the North Demon? Lin Xian was in danger. Lin Xian was also shocked. The wood element could actually suppress the fire element. The North Demon was really amazing. But unfortunately, he did not only have the power of fire. He also had the power of annihilation and the Dragon Sword Soul. So, he would not lose this battle. Lin Xian rose into the sky. His aura became colder and colder. The two of them faced each other in the sky. After the North Demon fused with the Tree of 10,000 Demons, he turned into an unbelievable existence. His cold voice rang out. This battle can end now. Receive my strongest attack. Green Sky Dragon Slash. He raised the giant sword in his hand, releasing endless green light. Countless plants grew crazily on the giant's sword. They were tens of thousands of miles long. Whoosh! With a biting cold aura, it could crush everything. At this moment, the North Demon had unleashed his power to the extreme. The power that was close to the Tao surrounded it. It was extremely powerful. Was he going to use his ultimate move? Well, I'll let you see my ultimate move. Lin Xian snorted. His eyes shone with a biting cold golden light. A fiery red appeared in his left eye, turning into a fiery red moon that burned rapidly. That was the power of fire. His right eye was pitch black, filled with the power of annihilation. The dragon sword soul in his body roared crazily. Ultimate move, Annihilation Fire Dragon Lotus. Chapter 3100. The two powers that were close to the Tao fused with the power of the dragon sword soul and slashed out. Xian's eyes darted around, and the three powers formed a flaming lotus that soared into the sky. The flaming lotus wasn't big. It was only the size of a palm, and it carried an aura that made people tremble. At this moment, the eyelids of the elders twitched, and their bodies trembled slightly. In the sky, the blue sky dragons slashed down. One slash could cut through mountains and rivers. Whoosh! The flaming lotus soared into the sky, and the two collided, erupting into an endless storm. Heaven and earth shattered, and Lin Xian and the North Demon's figures were completely engulfed in the sky. The array formation of the Prodigy Scholar's mansion lit up, flickering with mysterious runes. There were even laws dancing around. Obviously, the array formation had been strengthened again. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to block this shocking attack. Was this the strongest attack of the two? It was too powerful. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others were as tiny as ants in front of this attack. They couldn't block it at all. They wondered who would win in the end. The blue sky dragon's slash was too powerful. The North Demon's sword could injure a half-saint. Lin Xian was also extraordinary. He could actually fuse two powers that were close to the Tao. The power was definitely beyond imagination. This guy's talent was too heaven-defying. Everyone discussed animatedly. They realized that they couldn't guess. Not to mention them, even the elders didn't know the final result. The energy between heaven and earth continued to rumble. In the end, when everyone couldn't wait any longer, and even the elders wanted to attack, it finally disappeared. Everyone hurriedly looked forward. In the next moment, they saw two figures with injuries on their bodies. Lin Xian's face was a little pale, but it seemed that the nine-yang divine body was fine. On the other side, the North Demon was bleeding. His body that had fused with the Tree of 10,000 Demons was broken, revealing his true body. Even the green vine battle armor he was wearing had a crack on it. There were even a few places that fell directly. The North Demon was shocked that it could destroy my green vine armor and fused body. His long and narrow eyes were filled with disbelief. His body swayed slightly, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. It was obvious that the attack from before had caused him to be heavily injured. He was injured. The northern goblin was actually injured. Heavens, did the northern monster lose? At this moment, countless screams rang out, piercing through the clouds. The elders screamed like they had gone mad. It was too shocking. How many years had it been since anyone had been able to challenge the North Demon? But now, someone had come out, and not only had he challenged the Northern Demon, he had even injured him. Didn't that mean that the North Demon had lost? The number one position of the House of Prodigy was about to change owners. How could this be? Senior brother Beiyao was actually defeated? I don't believe it. Those from the Misty Peak couldn't accept it. The people of the Full Moon Peak were stunned. Heavens, is this for real? Lin Xian won? I'm not dreaming, am I? Impossible! How could Big Brother lose? Qing Wu crazily shook her head. She had never thought that a newcomer who had just entered the House of Prodigy for a few months would actually be able to defeat her brother. Did this kid really do it? Xin Jingqiu, on the other hand, clapped her hands and cheered. This was great. Brother Lin Xian was number one. This brat really didn't exceed my expectations. The dark red divine dragon also grinned. Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others were dumbfounded. They knew how terrifying the North Demon was. No one could challenge him. But now, the North Demon had been defeated. How powerful was Lin Xian? As for Black Demon, Shui Jie, and the others, they were completely dumbfounded. Crack! 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 Green light blossomed from the North Demon's body, repairing his injuries. In the next moment, he raised his head and looked forward. I didn't expect you to be able to seriously injure me. I've lost this battle. The North Demon smiled bitterly. Thank you for letting me win. Lin Xian cupped his fists and nodded slightly. However, he was also surprised. That attack just now was not something an invincible king could block at all. Even people like Yu Linglong and Han Fei would probably be reduced to ashes. Even a half-sage would probably be seriously injured. However, the North Demon had actually blocked it. Although he was injured, it wasn't a fatal injury. Moreover, with the powerful vitality of the Myriad Demon body and the Tree of Myriad Demons, it wouldn't take long for him to recover. The Myriad Demon body was really terrifying, Lin Xian exclaimed. It was easy for him to defeat the other party, but it would be difficult to kill the other party. Fortunately, this battle didn't have to be a life-and-death battle, so Lin Xian naturally won. Moreover, the North Demon had also made him recognize him again. Perhaps his next step would be to comprehend the law of wood between heaven and earth. Winner, Full Moon Peaks Lin Xian. The referee elder announced the result. Everyone was shocked again and cheered. With the end of the battle between the two, the entire competition of the House of Prodigy also came to an end. Lin Xian defeated the North Demon and became the number one in the House of Prodigy, setting a new record. The people of Full Moon Peak screamed crazily. Especially those elders, they were simply too excited. For so many years, their Full Moon Peak had been suppressed at the back, mocked and looked down on by many people. But now, they actually became the number one in the House of Prodigy. All of this was the glory brought to them by Lin Xian. Therefore, these elders' eyes were red as they looked at Lin Xian. Those eyes made Lin Xian's hair stand. Yi Fei, Xue Ling, Wang Qi, and the others were completely stunned. When Lin Xian first came, they didn't put Lin Xian in their eyes. But now, a few months later, Lin Xian completely surpassed them and even defeated the North Demon. It was something that they would never be able to do in their lifetime. As for the Black Demon, his body trembled slightly. Fortunately, he apologized and admitted his mistake. Otherwise, if he continued to go against such a person, he wouldn't even know how he died. Huangfu Baitian's eyes emitted a cold light. The competition this time allowed him to clearly see how terrifying a power that was close to the Tao was. Next, he would go into seclusion with all his strength. He wouldn't come out until he comprehended his own Tao. As for Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others, it was needless to say that they were shocked. Whoosh! The house master stood up and pressed his hands down slightly. Countless laws descended, causing everyone to stop talking. Countless pairs of eyes looked up at the sky. Even Lin Xian walked down the stage. He knew that it was time to announce the results and rewards. Thinking of this, he was slightly excited. The Great Path Enlightenment Scripture had allowed his understanding of the laws to increase rapidly. Now that he was comprehending the former residence of the saint and the place where the great emperor stayed, his understanding of the laws would definitely increase by another level. At that time, his power would also increase rapidly. The house master waved his hand, and countless rays of light gathered between heaven and earth like the Milky Way, hanging upside down in the sky. Everyone saw that it was a huge scroll. The North Demon, who was originally in the first place, dropped to the second place. And in the first place, two words appeared again, Lin Xian. Chapter 3101. Everyone was extremely excited and envious. They knew that Lin Xian had become the new number one in the House of Prodigy from today onwards. Second was the North Demon, third was Yu Linglong, fourth was Han Fei, and fifth was Jun Wuya. Sixth, Xin Jingxiu. Seventh, Zhong Lingxiu. Eighth, Huangfu Beitian. Ninth, Qin Wu. As for Black Demon and the rest, they were all ranked beyond the top 10. This time, apart from Lin Xian, Xin Jingxiu and Zhong Lingxiu's performance was too eye-catching. They had forcefully made it to the 6th and 7th places. It could be said that apart from the power that was close to the Tao, the two of them were the strongest. The top 3 could go to the saint's former residence and comprehend for 10 days. The first place had the chance to go to the Cliff of Enlightenment and comprehend for 7 days and 7 nights. Apart from the top 3, the top 10 also had various kinds of treasures, cultivation methods, resources, and abhijnas. The rewards from the House of Prodigy would definitely make these geniuses jealous. Lin Xian, the North Demon, and Yu Linglong rested for 3 days before entering the saint's former residence. The saint's former residence was in a very remote place in the House of Prodigy. When Lin Xian and the other two arrived, they were greatly surprised. In their opinion, the saint's former residence should be incomparably grand and majestic. However, it was completely out of their expectations. There was a courtyard on a small hill. It was very simple. There was a bamboo house inside and a few ancient trees were planted in the courtyard. Other than that, there was nothing else. This was the saint's former residence. Yu Linglong's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. The North Demon also narrowed his eyes. Su Chen's eyes flickered. Indeed, the appearance was too ordinary. However, under the combination of the heavenly secret god eyes and plenilun seed, he discovered that this place was extremely unusual. There were traces of laws everywhere. In fact, although there were no laws in some places, there was an extremely mysterious aura left behind. Obviously, it was left behind by a saint who had lived here for many years. Gradually, the North Demon and Yu Linglong also discovered the difference. Therefore, the three of them sat down cross-legged and began to comprehend. The courtyard wasn't big, so the distance between the three of them wasn't too far. When Lin Xian's eyes flickered with terrifying runes, Yu Linglong was shocked. What kind of eyes were those? Why were they like the eyes of a god? She looked at those golden eyes and her soul trembled. The northern monster was also shocked. Who would have thought that other than the great dragon sword spirit and the 9 yang divine body, Lin Xian actually had a pair of mysterious eyes. This pair of eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. No wonder he comprehended it so quickly. The North Beast took a deep breath and activated his bloodline power. He also focused on comprehending. Within his golden eyes, a moon was revolving. The heavenly secret god eyes and the Moongazer serpent seed allowed Lin Xian to see everything around him clearly. In addition to his understanding of the scripture of the great Tao realization, Lin Xian had entered a strange state. Just like that, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. 10 days passed. A grand elder pushed open the bamboo door and walked in. He said in a low voice, "3 little guys, that's enough. It's time. You won't be able to take it any longer." Hearing this, Yu Linglong opened her eyes and sighed. Comprehending here for a day was equivalent to comprehending for a year in the outside world. She had gained a lot, and her power that was close to the Tao had also improved. The northern monster also stood up. On the other side, Lin Xian also opened his eyes. He exclaimed in his heart. It wasn't just 1 year. 1 day here was equivalent to 10 years in the outside world. Although he had only comprehended here for a short 10 days, the effect was much better than comprehending for 100 years outside. Lin Xian's 2 powers that were close to the Tao had improved once again. Their power was several times stronger than before. If he told others, probably no one would believe him. Even the peak leaders and the grand elders wouldn't believe him. Although this was the former residence of a saint, and 1 year was equivalent to several years in the outside world, it was still heaven-defying for Lin Xian to improve so much. After all, he had the Moongazer serpent seed and the heavenly secret God eyes. In addition to the scripture of the great Tao realization, his power had improved by leaps and bounds. Suddenly, he felt someone looking at him. He turned around and saw the northern monster looking at him. Lin Xian grinned. The northern monster narrowed his eyes and was shocked. This kid had become unfathomable again. He wondered how much his power had improved in the past 10 days. A few days ago, he had lost to Lin Xian. He was very unhappy and wanted to fight with Lin Xian again. Of course, now wasn't the time. When his 1,000-monster body improved again, he would come back and defeat Lin Xian in one fell swoop. Since Yu Linglong's strength had increased, she naturally wanted to give it a try as well. However, when she saw Lin Xian and the North Demon, who were like two endless stars, she shook her head and gave up on the idea. Both of them were monsters. The three of them followed the Grand Elder and left the former residence of the saint. You two can go back first. I'll bring him to see the mansion master, the Grand Elder said with a smile. Hearing this, Yu Linglong and the northern monster looked at Lin Xian again. Their eyes were filled with envy. Lin Xian also had 7 days to study the Cliff of Enlightenment. That was even more mysterious than the former residence of the saint. Rumor had it that the Darch had stayed there for a day. Then I'll take my leave first. Lin Xian nodded at the northern monster, and Yu Linglong and followed the Grand Elder into the sky. They flew all the way and landed in a dazzling hall. The Grand Elder opened the door and Lin Xian walked in. There was an old man in the hall. His back was facing Lin Xian as he flipped through a book. Not far behind him, there was a bronze incense burner. Wisps of green smoke floated out from it. Lin Xian took a breath and felt the blood in his body churning. He was energized. What a magical fragrance! This was definitely a heavenly treasure, and an extremely precious one at that. The mansion master was too extravagant. How terrifying would it be to absorb this fragrance all day? Greetings, mansion master. In the next moment, he looked at the figure in front of him and clenched his fists. Lin Xian, you're here? The voice of the manor lord was like that of an ordinary old man. Lin Xian was astonished, and his eyes narrowed. Recently, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. His understanding of the laws of heaven and earth had also improved. He could sense that the old man in front of him had already reached the realm of returning to one's original state. Needless to say, the mansion master was definitely an extremely powerful existence among the saints. But how would he compare to Xia Jiuyo? Are you ready? The mansion master said calmly. I'm ready. Lin Xian took a deep breath. That's good. The mansion master turned around and revealed a warm smile. In the next moment, the world changed. He was no longer in the hall but in the mountains and rivers. Spiritual mountains and clear waters. A mountain peak appeared in front of Lin Xian. It was like a sharp sword that pierced through the clouds. It was steep, but the side facing Lin Xian was as smooth as a mirror. It was as if someone had split it open with a sword. On the mountain wall, there were 3 words written in flamboyant calligraphy: Cliff of Enlightenment. Chapter 3102. The 3 words sounded ordinary, but upon closer inspection, it was like a soaring dragon. Lin Xian's soul trembled. So powerful! In his left eye, the plenilin seed was also jumping. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. This was too magical. This place wasn't simple at all. Other than feeling the aura of many sages and the laws of heaven and earth, there was also an extremely terrifying aura that was above all the sages. This should be the aura of a great emperor, right? How many tens of thousands of years had it been? It was still so powerful? All right, I won't delay you any further. You have 7 days and 7 nights to comprehend here. The mansion master's voice sounded. Then, he disappeared into the void. Lin Xian took a deep breath and used the Tianji divine eyes and the plenilin seed to observe the surroundings. He silently chanted the great Tao comprehension scripture and began to comprehend. When he started to comprehend, the extraordinary warrior manor outside had also undergone changes. The North Beast, Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the others had already left the extraordinary warrior manor and headed towards the ancient starry sky path. This time, they wouldn't be returning for a short period of time. As for the others, such as Huangfu Beiqian, Yi Fei, He Mo, and the others, some were preparing to leave while some continued to stay in the extraordinary warrior manor. For example, Huangfu Beiqian stayed in seclusion in the extraordinary warrior manor. If he didn't succeed in comprehending the power that was close to Tao, he wouldn't come out. As for He Mo and Yi Fei, they left the extraordinary warrior manor and stepped onto the ancient starry sky path. They felt that it would be difficult to comprehend if they stayed in the extraordinary warrior manor. Perhaps there would be other opportunities on the ancient starry sky path. Xin Jingqiu was originally at Linglong Peak, waiting for Lin Xian to comprehend. However, the mansion master came to find her today. Linglong Peak's peak master came along with him. Linglong Peak's peak master was a female sage with great strength. "Seniors, why are you looking for Chiu'er?" Xin Jingqiu was very surprised. Linglong Peak smiled and said, "Chiu'er, your opportunity is here." "Opportunity?" Xin Jingqiu was even more confused. The peak master whispered a few words. Xin Jingqiu's beautiful eyes widened in shock. "Is it really possible?" she asked. "Don't worry, I will send you to that place. You will definitely be able to grow quickly. It can even bring your spirit body one step closer." Xin Jingqiu thought about it seriously, then nodded and said, "But I have to leave a letter for Lin Xiangij." "No problem. I'll give you 1 day to prepare. After 1 day, come and find me." The Manor Lord and the Linglong Peak Master left. Xin Jingqiu left behind a jade slip sound transmission, then went to the Full Moon Peak to find the Crimson Dragon, and handed this thing to the Crimson Dragon. At the same time, she said, "I'm going to a place on the ancient starry sky path to tell Big Brother Lin Xian not to let him worry. We will meet again on the starry sky ancient path in the future." Was the little girl also leaving? The Crimson Dragon was not surprised. Everyone had their own opportunities. Xin Jingqiu's talent was good, and her physique and bloodline were even stronger. Even if she left, there wouldn't be much danger. Moreover, he knew that this should have been arranged by those old monsters in the House of Prodigy. If the Crimson Dragon didn't have the Dragon clan's inheritance, he would probably leave and search for opportunities alone. After leaving some instructions to the Crimson Dragon, Xin Jingqiu left to find the Manor Lord. The next day, news came from the House of Prodigy that Xin Jingqiu had also entered the ancient starry sky path. Zhong Lingxiu left at night, and so did Qing Wu. The 3 goddesses have all left. What should I do in the future? In the House of Prodigy, the geniuses who stayed were very heartbroken. Qing Wu left with the North Demon, Xin Jingqiu was brought away by the Manor Lord, and Zhong Lingxiu left alone. Cliff of Enlightenment. Lin Xian was in full concentration. 7 days passed quickly. He withdrew from his meditation, and a sigh appeared in his eyes. "Am I leaving?" To be honest, this place was much more mysterious than the previous residence of the saint. In 7 days, Lin Xian's strength increased again. Although his cultivation did not increase, the power that was close to the Tao became more powerful. He even comprehended the law of fire, and used this power to cultivate the 9 yang divine body. His 9 yang divine body finally improved again. Its power had completely surpassed that of an invincible king, but he hadn't reached the saint level yet. It could be said that he was now a half-saint. Finally, after endless cultivation and battles, Lin Xian cultivated the 9 yang divine body to this level. Ordinary divine abilities and martial arts couldn't hurt him at all. Now, except for the law of fire, his physique was not inferior to a half-saint's at all. If I stand still and let Huangfu Beiqian hit me, he probably won't be able to break through my defense. Jun Wuya and Han Fei are no match for me. Even Yu Linglong, I have the confidence to defeat her in 1 move. Lin Xian was full of confidence now. Even if he faced the North Demon, he was confident that he could defeat him with just 1 law of fire. Of course, he knew that the North Demon couldn't be stagnant forever. He must have other opportunities, and his strength increased by leaps and bounds. However, it was impossible for the North Demon to defeat him. It's time to go back. I wonder how Chiao and the others are doing? Lin Xian left the Cliff of Enlightenment and returned to Full Moon Peak. Full Moon Peak. Lin Xian's courtyard was surrounded by array formations. Suddenly, the clouds churned, and a figure descended. Inside, the Crimson Dragon immediately opened his eyes and flew over. "Kid, you're back." When he saw Lin Xian, his body trembled, and a biting cold light burst out from his dragon eyes. "What the heavens, what kind of aura is that?" He retreated with a whoosh, his heart filled with shock. Because he could feel that Lin Xian's aura was even more mysterious, and it carried a very dangerous feeling. This aura was much stronger than before. "Damn it, you're still here! You've only been away for less than a month, how did your strength change so much?" The Crimson Dragon was shocked. Lin Xian said with a smile. Although it was less than a month, that place was incomparably mysterious. One day was equivalent to 10 years outside. "I'm so envious." The Crimson Dragon's eyes were red. No, Benwan had to quickly comprehend the power of laws. He had already obtained a copy of the Scripture of Enlightenment from Lin Xian. When Xinjingqiu left, he also gave her a copy. However, he had been waiting for Lin Xian, so he didn't go into seclusion to cultivate. Now that Lin Xian was back, he could go into seclusion to cultivate. Of course, before that, he still explained the current situation of Xinjingqiu and the entire extraordinary warrior's residence. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard that. Chiao left? However, that was good. With the Mansion Master's team taking care of her, and with Chiao's talent, her strength shouldn't be a problem. Previously, Lin Xian was still a little worried about this little girl. However, after a few battles, it seemed like Chiao could already hold her own. At the same time, he knew that the North Demon, Yu Linglong, Han Fei, and the rest had all left the extraordinary warrior's residence and stepped onto the ancient starry sky path. There weren't many people left in the extraordinary warrior's residence. The ancient starry sky path? Lin Xian took a deep breath. He was finally going to step onto the path to becoming an emperor. Chapter 3103. He knew that this trip wouldn't be the same as before. He probably wouldn't be back for a while. "Kid, are you leaving?" the Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian nodded. "But there's no hurry. I'll stay here for a month or two to consolidate my strength. I'll go after that." "All right then, Benhuan will go into the Black Earth and cultivate in seclusion." The Crimson Dragon took the Tao comprehension and entered the Black Earth. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and began to consolidate his strength. A month later, Lin Xian had completely consolidated his strength. Next, he didn't go on his way immediately. Instead, he entered the mysterious world of the small sword in his body. When he saw the illusionary divine furnace again, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. The illusionary divine furnace was a treasure that he had obtained in Sky Flame City. He had swallowed one of the pills in it previously, and his strength had increased tremendously. Not only him, but the Crimson Dragon, Xinjingqiu, and Murong Qingqing had also increased their strength. Lin Xian knew that the illusionary divine furnace couldn't have only these few items. There must be other treasures. Therefore, he wanted to take advantage of the increase in his strength to explore it again. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. The power of annihilation in his left eye exploded and turned into a divine chain that hooked onto one side of the illusionary divine furnace. The power of flames flew out from his right eye and turned into a scarlet chain that hooked onto the other side of the illusionary divine furnace. "Open!" Lin Xian roared. Boom, boom, boom! The top of the illusionary divine furnace slowly opened, revealing a small gap. Seeing this, Lin Xian was overjoyed. Indeed, his strength had increased and he could open the illusionary divine furnace. However, when he looked inside, he still frowned slightly. He still couldn't see clearly what was inside the illusionary divine furnace. He could only wait for the treasure to float out. Buzz! Not long after, a light flashed and floated out from the illusionary divine furnace, floating in the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand and grabbed him. In the next moment, he looked surprised. It wasn't a medicinal pill, nor was it a magical treasure, but rather a jade slip. It was extremely ancient, and there were traces of time left behind on it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The illusionary divine furnace healed once again, and the two forces disappeared. Lin Xian retreated with the jade slip. What was that? He held the jade slip in his hand. The pill sage's notes. Seeing this, Lin Xian was extremely surprised. He also knew how to concoct pills. It could be said that he was very proficient in it. However, as his cultivation increased, his alchemy skills were gradually unable to support him. After all, in the future, Lin Xian would have to take half-saint, or even saint-level pills. But with what Lin Xian learned now, he simply could not refine that kind of medicinal pill. However, he did not expect that the search for the void divine furnace this time would actually give him an unexpected surprise. The Alchemy Saint's Notes. Needless to say, this should be the experiences recorded by the ancient alchemy masters. After comprehending the scripture of the Great Path Insight, Lin Xian knew how precious these saints' records were. Just a little bit could give him endless inspiration and save him hundreds of years of detours. Therefore, Lin Xian could not wait to open it and flip through it. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. For a full 5 days, Lin Xian read it. 5 days later, Lin Xian raised his head, extremely excited. It was not recorded by one alchemy saint, but by a total of 5 alchemy saints. Of the 5 alchemy saints, 1 was a half-saint, and the other 4 were all saint level. The medicinal pills they refined were also very useful for the sage realm. Moreover, not only were there the insights of these sages, but there were also many pill formulas in it. These pills could increase one's cultivation, break through obstacles, repair the body, repair the soul, and enhance the soul. In short, it could be said to be very comprehensive. Moreover, Lin Xian even felt that these might be some extinct pill formulas. Immediately, Lin Xian's heart beat wildly. Among them, he also found a kind of medicinal pill called the Breakthrough Saint Pill. It was very famous in ancient times. It could shorten the time for invincible kings to break through to the sage realm. Moreover, after eating this kind of medicinal pill, the success rate of invincible kings breaking through to the half-saint realm would also be greatly increased. This is it! Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He was now at the middle 9-star stage, and was very close to breaking through to the half-saint realm. However, it was not so easy to break through to the half-saint realm. Therefore, even he did not have much confidence in his heart. But now, with this Breakthrough Saint Pill, it was different. As long as he could refine the Breakthrough Saint Pill, then he had 100% confidence that he could become a half-saint. Next, Lin Xian carefully studied the Breakthrough Saint Pill. But soon, he revealed a strange look. Because the Breakthrough Saint Pill required too many materials. There were more than 1,000 kinds, and many spiritual herbs were extinct. It was estimated that there were none in the true spirit world. But thinking about it, if such a precious medicinal pill was placed in the true spirit world, the various remote antiquity families and sacred grounds would probably fight for it. However, Lin Xian was not worried. Because he was about to step on the ancient road of the stars and set foot on the myriad worlds. Not having it in the true spirit world did not mean that other worlds did not have it. Therefore, Lin Xian memorized all the materials needed for the Breakthrough Saint Pill. Then, he prepared to step on the ancient road of the stars and search for them one by one in the future. Anyway, there was still some time before he broke through. It was enough for him to prepare. In addition to the Breakthrough Saint Pill, some of the notes inside were also very helpful for Lin Xian to improve his alchemy Tao. Therefore, in the next 3 months, Lin Xian was still comprehending with all his strength. Half a year later, Lin Xian finally came out of seclusion. His alchemy Tao had improved rapidly. Although Lin Xian did not spar with other alchemy masters, Lin Xian estimated that there were not many who were better than him. Unless it was those real alchemy saints. Putting away the alchemy saint's notes, Lin Xian entered the black earth and found that the crimson dragon was still in seclusion. He was not worried about this. The crimson dragon had rich experience, and he also had the inheritance of the dragon clan. When he came out of seclusion again, his strength would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Therefore, he exited the black earth and prepared to leave the extraordinary scholar mansion and step on the ancient road of the stars. After finding the Great Elder, Lin Xian explained his intention. After hearing this, the Great Elder nodded slightly. The Mansion Master and Peak Master have already told me that they gave you 2 things. With that, the Great Elder took out the items. Lin Xian found that one of them was the token of the Extraordinary Scholar Mansion. The Great Elder said, "This token of the Extraordinary Scholar Mansion represents your identity. Apart from some Supreme Elders and Peak Masters, I'm afraid only you have it. This is also your reward for winning first place this time." Seeing that Lin Xian was a little puzzled, the Great Elder explained that this was not the first time the ancient road of the stars was opened. It had existed for countless years. Our Extraordinary Scholar Mansion has also existed for a long time. Among them, it was unknown how many geniuses left from the Extraordinary Scholar Mansion. They stepped on the ancient road of the stars, although they did not become great emperors in the end. However, quite a few people had gone far away. Some people's strength increased greatly, and their prestige shook the heavens. Some people fell and ended in darkness, and some people survived in other worlds. Chapter 3104. In short, every single one of them had different encounters and lives, whereas some of these people had already grown into overlords of an area, and they'd suppressed and ruled over a world or even a few worlds. Therefore, in the future, if you meet those elites from the House of Prodigy, take out this token and they will provide you with help. Lin Xian was shocked as he silently put away the token. He knew that the ancient starry sky path was a cruel path. There was only one person who could succeed in the end. However, there were still countless geniuses who did not care about the consequences and continued to advance. Besides everyone wanting to become a great emperor, there were other reasons. For example, after tempering on the ancient starry sky path, one's strength would increase much faster than in other places. Even if one couldn't become a great emperor in the end, there was still a high chance of becoming a sage. Some people even felt that their strength had increased greatly, and left the ancient starry sky path. It could be said that this was a path of tempering. One didn't have to walk to the end. Of course, Lin Xian's goal was the end of the ancient starry sky path. The second thing is for you from the Peak Master. This is a spirit boat. It will allow you to fly in the void universe. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up, revealing a look of joy. He was lacking such an item. This was because the Great Elder had taken him to the outer realm of the starry sky before. He knew about the astral winds and the terrifying energy outside. Without a suitable spirit boat, one wouldn't be able to travel far. After receiving the spirit boat, Lin Xian imprinted his soul imprint on it. He cupped his fists and thanked the House of Prodigy, Peak Master, and Great Elder. Looking at the young man in front of him, the Great Elder revealed a gratified smile. This was the first in the House of Prodigy. He could even suppress the North Demon. Who knew what kind of giant he would become after hundreds or thousands of years? Taking a deep breath, the Great Elder said in a deep voice, "Lastly, I have to remind you that stepping on the ancient starry sky path means that you have embarked on a very cruel path. On this path, you can't be weak. You must have a firm will and fierce means to survive. Lastly, the end point isn't something that everyone has to reach. It's not a bad choice to stop and find the most suitable place for yourself. Lastly, I wish you the best on your own path." "Thank you, Great Elder, for your reminder. Junior will keep it in mind." Lin Xian bowed respectfully. He knew that the Great Elder's words would be very helpful to him when he embarked on the ancient path of the starry sky in the future. Next, Lin Xian bade farewell to the First Elder and soared into the sky, leaving the outstanding scholar manor. With a wave of his hand, the spirit boat in his hand expanded to several hundred feet long and floated in the air. Lin Xian's figure flickered as he entered the spirit boat. He threw out a few divine crystals, and the spirit boat tore through the void and soared into the sky. Looking at the gradually blurring scenery below, Lin Xian's heart was filled with emotion. Who knew when he would be able to return? In the endless starry universe, a streak of blue light tore through the void and flew rapidly into the distance. Inside the spirit boat, a red-robed youth stood with his hands behind his back. He looked at the vast universe outside the window and seemed to be lost in thought. This red-clothed youth was none other than Lin Xian. At this moment, it had already been 10 days since he left the house of outstanding scholars. He had spent these 10 days in the spirit boat. This spirit boat was very fast and very convenient. Lin Xian soon became proficient in controlling it. He had some information that the Great Elder had given him regarding the ancient path of the starry sky. The so-called ancient path of the starry sky was a path created by ancient sage experts and even great emperors. Lin Xian had already understood that the entire universe was made up of thousands of worlds. However, it was divided into many star fields and forces. It was very complicated and many times more complicated and dangerous than the true spirit world. Lin Xian was going to the cloud-returning planet this time. It was a relatively large planet in the vicinity. Among them, the true spirit world, the hero planet, the Sirius planet, and a few other star fields would almost always have their first battle on the cloud-returning planet. Therefore, the cloud-returning planet was very prosperous. Martial arts flourished, and all kinds of precious and extinct materials often appeared. They might not be able to find them in their own world, but that might not be the case on the cloud-returning planet. Many people even specially went to the cloud-returning planet to search for treasures. Lin Xian also planned to take a look on the planet. Firstly, he wanted to find the materials for the breakthrough pill. Secondly, he wanted a good pill furnace. These days, he had not been idle in the spirit boat. Instead, he had refined several furnaces of pills. These furnaces of pills were for his current 9-star king realm. About 5 days later, Lin Xian stood up and looked at the gigantic star in the distance with sparkling eyes. He knew that the cloud-returning planet was right in front of him. He activated the spirit boat and rushed towards it. As they descended, the surrounding astral winds kept blowing and slamming against the spirit boat. The spirit boat activated its array formation to block these astral winds so that Lin Xian did not have to pay too much attention. After finally dodging the astral winds and arriving in the sky, Lin Xian put away the spirit boat. He looked down, his eyes flashing. Below, there were many cities with dense spirit qi. It was not inferior to the true spirit world. Of course, their true spirit world had a special meaning in the entire universe. No one could compare to it. However, on the ancient star road, meaning did not seem to be important. Therefore, Lin Xian did not intend to reveal his true identity. His eyes flashing, Lin Xian sent out his soul spirit. He identified a direction and flew into the distance. 2 days later, he encountered something. Someone was robbing him in front. The person being robbed was a young man. He had an ordinary face and an early-stage 9-star cultivation base. However, there were 2 mid-stage 9-star cultivators. Therefore, the ordinary-looking young man complained and kept running. Finally, he met Lin Xian. "Brother, run!" The young man who was running did not seem to expect that there was someone in front of him, and immediately warned him. Lin Xian was slightly stunned. It seemed that this person was quite kind and did not want to implicate him. He even specially changed the direction of his escape for this reason. Too kind. Before Lin Xian came, he heard from the Grand Elder that one had to be ruthless to survive on the ancient star road. He did not expect to meet such a kind person as soon as he came to the cloud-returning planet. People like that were very rare, and Lin Xian was tempted to save them. In front of him, the 2 mid-stage 9-star cultivators saw Lin Xian and immediately snorted. "Kid, get lost. Since you don't want to get lost, stay." A ray of light slashed over with piercing cold runes, shattering the void. "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted coldly. He did not take a mere mid-stage 9-star cultivator seriously. Although the other party was a cultivator of the same level as him, they were no different from ants in his eyes. He reached out his palm and directly grabbed in front of him. Crack! He directly smashed that ray of sword chi. What? How can he be so strong? The king who attacked was stunned. He did not expect Lin Xian to be an expert. What a strong physique! Could he be a genius of the Northern Big Dipper sect? Chapter 3105. The Big Dipper sect was a large sect that specialized in body refinement. It was said that one could withstand the astral winds of the 9 heavens. Therefore, after Lin Xian displayed such a strong body, the king thought that Lin Xian was from the Big Dipper sect. Are you from the Big Dipper sect? We are from the Blood River sect. Mind your own business. As soon as he finished speaking, he screamed, his eyes wide open. This was because his head had already been separated from his body. A large golden hand plucked his head off. The other party dared to attack. The Blood River sect was not any weaker than the Big Dipper sect. How did the other party dare to attack? He could not figure it out until his death. This scene was seen by another king from the Blood River sect. He was scared out of his wits. In the next moment, he roared and waved his blood-red blade, about to attack. Boom! Lin Xian pointed out, and a sword she sliced through the air, cutting this person in half. The flames on the sword she burned the corpse clean. What happened? The aura was gone? The young man who was running was shocked when he felt the aura dissipating behind him. He sent out his soul to check behind him. In the next moment, he was stunned and stopped. Where was the person who was chasing after him? How did he disappear? Little did he know that 2 9-star intermediate kings would be killed and reduced to ashes in just an instant. Could it be that the red-robed man did it? The ordinary-looking young man was shocked. He flew over and clasped his fists at Lin Xian. Thank you for helping. How should I address you? Lin Xian. So it was Brother Lin. I am Fang Hao, a disciple of the Fang family. What sect is Brother Lin from? He is so powerful. Fang Hao was excited. Lin Xian said. I am a rogue cultivator. He did not hide his name, but he would not tell others that he came from the origin star of the true spirit world. After the two of them chatted for a while, Lin Xian discovered that Fang Hao was indeed a simple and honest person. Therefore, he asked, Brother Fang, I just came out from the mountains and do not know much about the outside world. I want to find some precious spiritual herbs and other materials. Where can I get them? Precious spiritual herbs? Brother Lin wanted to make pills, Fang Hao said. Then let's go to the Great Armor City. That was a very famous city. There were many extinct spiritual herbs that could be found there. There were often auctions there. It could be said to be the most famous city in this region. The Great Armor City? Where should I go? Lin Xian asked. Brother Lin. Let's go together. I happen to be going too. Then, the two set off together. Lin Xian learned that Fang Hao was from the Fang clan. The Fang clan was one of the clans in the southern continent, and their power was comparable to a weaker sect. However, Fang's that Dipper sect was a branch. Therefore, they were not valued. Otherwise, the Blood River sect people would not have dared to kill him. Fang Hao was going to the Great Armor City to meet someone. This woman was his fiancée, but Fang Hao had not seen her for many years. It was said that the marriage was set by the elders of both parties. However, Fang Hao's Dipper sect had declined over the years. Therefore, the two parties had not met much. Lin Xian was not surprised. The 4 great clans used this kind of soul to strengthen the relationship and interests between each other. Perhaps this was something that was common across the myriad of worlds. Therefore, he did not pay much attention to it. The two flew for about 6 days and arrived at the Great Armor City. Before they reached the city, the number of martial artists in the surroundings had gradually increased. There were people everywhere, from the spirit detecting realm to the venerables and kings. Lin Xian even saw many invincible kings. Fang Hao said that the Great Armor City was a city of trade. Countless clans and forces gathered here, as well as experts and geniuses. Brother Lin, the materials that you want can be found here. Lin Xian nodded and the two walked into the Great Armor City. The Great Armor City was even more bustling. The Wind Pavilion. It was a very artistic place in the Great Armor City. The entire Wind Pavilion was enveloped by a huge formation that condensed rich spirit qi. It was decorated with spiritual mountains and beautiful rivers. There were even many cute spiritual beasts running around. Here, one could not only enjoy the rich spirit qi, admire the beautiful scenery, but also taste spiritual tea. The spiritual tea here was very famous in the entire Great Armor City. Therefore, some disciples of the great clans liked to drink spiritual tea and chat in the Wind Pavilion when they had nothing to do. At this moment, there were a few young men and women sitting at a table near the artificial mountain and the spiritual spring. They were surrounded by beautiful maids who were serving them. Each of them had a cup of spiritual tea in front of them. This spiritual tea was not simple. It was estimated that those who were not rich could not afford to drink this cup. However, looking at these men and women who did not seem to care, one could imagine that they were from the great clans or disciples of the great sections. At this moment, there were a few beautiful girls at the table. One of them was dressed in purple. She had a beautiful face, but her eyes were still full of arrogance. She grabbed the blue-clothed woman beside her and quickly asked, "Qing Qing, you seem to be absent-minded. You seem to have something on your mind. What is it that you can't tell your sister?" "Yu, isn't that the girl I told you about? She's called Qing Qing. She's also very beautiful." However, there was a trace of sadness between her brows at this moment. "What? No way? Are you talking about the marriage agreement that your clan made for you?" The girl called Yu snorted coldly. "You're not really going to marry that trash, are you?" "Who said that I'm going to marry him? It's just that my clan wants me to meet him today." Qing Qing shook her head. Yu sneered. "What's there to meet? How long has that guy been cultivating? He's still a 9-star beginner? Someone like him seems to have good talent, but that's only for ordinary people. To the great clans like us, he's not enough. With his talent, he'll probably reach the end of his cultivation in this lifetime. But you're different. You're so young and so talented. In a few decades or 100 years, your cultivation will far surpass his. When that time comes, do you think that a man like him is worthy of you?" Yu said coquettishly. "The man I found is a genius of the Big Dipper sect." At this point, Yu's eyes were filled with a trace of pride. The clothes she was wearing were very luxurious, and the jade pendant necklace she was wearing was a defensive magic treasure. Needless to say, she was also a disciple of a great clan. Beside the two of them sat a girl. She was dressed in black and had been quietly listening to them. She did not seem to like talking. At this moment, two figures walked in from outside the Wind Pavilion. They were Lin Xian and Fang Hao. Chapter 3106. Fan Hao said to Lin Xian apologetically, "Brother Lin, I'm sorry to have to make you come with me. But don't worry, I don't think there's much chance of us meeting this time. I'll come out soon. When the time comes, I'll accompany you to look for those spiritual herbs." "It's okay." Lin Xian shrugged. Since they were already in Giant Armor City, it wouldn't matter if they stayed a little longer. Moreover, he saw that Fan Hao was very honest, and he was worth making friends with. At least, he would be reliable to ask for help in finding spiritual herbs. The two walked into the Wind Pavilion. Inside, Yu, Qing Qing, and the others were still discussing. At this moment, they raised their eyebrows and looked into the distance. Two figures were coming from afar. When they saw the two of them, the three of them had different looks in their eyes. Among them, there was a trace of resistance in Qing Qing's eyes, but she concealed it very well. Yu, on the other hand, had a condescending arrogance and did not hide it at all. Fan Hao arrived, but before he could speak, he was interrupted by Yu. "You're that Fan Hao, right? You want to marry Qing Qing? Are you kidding me? What's Qing Qing's status? What's your status? What's your talent? Don't you know?" How dare you come here? As soon as she said this, Fan Hao's face instantly turned red, and his eyes dimmed. Lin Xian, who was next to him, also frowned. It seemed that this meeting was not going to be easy. Fan Hao was an early 9-star king, and he was indeed a strong person outside. However, in the era of geniuses, he was indeed not strong enough. However, the aggressive look of this blue-clothed girl in front of him made Lin Xian very unhappy. At this moment, Hai Yu continued to mock him. It's fine that your cultivation is weak, but you don't even have a decent treasure on you. As she said this, she proudly shook the bracelet on her left hand. This was a very precious defensive treasure. There were a total of 6 Buddha beads, and each bead was a layer of defense. When the 6 treasures attacked together, they could withstand the full-force attack of a late-stage 9-star expert. In addition to this bracelet, the jade pendant and necklace on her were also the same. Even the pair of earrings had an extremely strong vitality. Obviously, it was a wood-type magical treasure. Presumably, when he was injured, the earrings could provide him with powerful spiritual energy, allowing him to recover quickly. On the other hand, Fan Hao's clothes were indeed simple and plain. Apart from an inner armor, there were not many treasures that could be taken out. You've misunderstood, I have no intention of marrying Miss Qingqing. Fan Hao hurriedly shook his head. Hai Yu sneered. He had no intention of marrying Qingqing? Then what are you doing here? This is not a place you can come to. Hurry up and leave. Why don't you take a look at yourself? Can you afford the spirit tea here? Hai Yu was extremely arrogant. The woman in black beside her frowned slightly. Even Qingqing tugged at Hai Yu's sleeve, telling her to stop. Hai Yu coldly snorted. For Qingqing's sake, I'll give you a chance. Hurry and leave. Brother Lin, I'm sorry for letting you see such a joke. Fan Hao's face was extremely ugly. Lin Xian shook his head. It was nothing. Now that we have understood the situation here, let's go. That's right. Apart from the fact that the spirit herbs I want are all rare, there is also a requirement for their age. They must be at least 5,000 years old, preferably 7 or 8,000 years old. Of course, if the red spirit herb and man-leaf flower are not that old, it doesn't matter. I want them all. Don't worry, Brother Lin, I will do my best to find them for you. Hearing the conversation between Lin Xian and Fan Hao, Hai Yu and the rest were stunned. Even the surrounding martial artists were whispering to each other. After all, although there were many spirit herbs that were 5,000 years old and above were rare. They could even be called little herb kings. One had to know that invincible kings only lived for a few years. A spirit herb that was older than them was definitely incomparably precious. Especially the red spirit herb and man-leaf flower. Many people had never heard of them. Those who knew were also shocked. These were 2 extremely precious herbs. They could be said to be extremely rare and had already gone extinct in many star worlds. Even if they were here, they were not easy to find. Hai Yu, Qingqing, and the rest naturally knew about this. After hearing this, Hai Yu sneered. You want to find a herb king that was 5,000 years old and above? You want the red spirit herb and man-leaf flower? Why don't you take a look at your wealth? Even she might not be able to afford these things, let alone the 2 in front of her. Although she did not know Lin Xian, she knew that he was walking with Fan Hao. What kind of famous genius could he be? He must be a piece of trash. So from the beginning to the end, she did not put Lin Xian in her eyes. In her opinion, these 2 guys must be pretending to be rich and powerful in front of her. Even Qingqing, who was beside her, frowned. She originally thought that Fan Hao was an honest person, but now it seemed that he was not. He obviously could not afford a herb king that was 5,000 years old and above, let alone the red spirit herb and man-leaf flower. Why did he have to pretend to be searching for them? It was really disappointing. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes darkened and a touch of coldness appeared in his eyes. Ignorant, he said indifferently. To be honest, people like Hai Yu and Qingqing were definitely geniuses in the eyes of ordinary kings. They had noble statuses and could not be provoked. But in Lin Xian's eyes, they were no different from ants. He was the number one in the House of Prodigy, the descendant of the great dragon. He had comprehended two powers that were close to the Tao. In terms of status, he far surpassed the other party. However, the other party was too trash and could not see through his strength. Seeing Lin Xian's gloomy face, Fan Hao said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Brother Lin. You were implicated. Let's go." Lin Xian nodded slightly. For Fan Hao's sake, he would spare the other party's life. Otherwise, the two of them turned and left. At this moment, Hai Yu flipped her palm and took out a small disc array. She flipped it in her hand. A voice floated out. Hai Yu said happily, "Wan Gang and the others are here. Let's go out." With that, Hai Yu and the other two also walked out. Soon, Lin Xian, Hai Yu, and the others left the Windwhisper Pavilion almost at the same time. Outside the Windwhisper Pavilion stood a few figures. Their auras were unusually strong. Especially the leader. He had a stocky build and was full of masculine aura. His aura was so oppressive that the air rumbled. Everyone's blood boiled and they could not breathe. No one dared to approach. After Fan Hao came out and felt this aura, his face changed and became incomparably pale. Lin Xian glanced at him and no longer paid attention. Late stage 9-star with a strong physique. The other party should be a close combat expert. He estimated that the other party had about 30 to 40,000 units of Archean power. Such a person, in the true spirit world, would be stronger than most saints and saintesses. But in Lin Xian's eyes, he could not even withstand a single blow. In fact, the other party couldn't even withstand a single finger from him. He was not interested in such a person. Chapter 3107. However, to be able to find such a genius on the streets, it could be said that the cloud-returning planet's martial path was indeed prosperous. If the 10,000 ancient races were not included, it had already surpassed the human race of the true spirit world. Lin Xian ignored him and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, a joyful voice came from behind. "Wan Gang, you're here?" Immediately after, Lin Xian saw Hai Yu throw herself into the arms of a burly man in front of her. Qingqing and another black-clothed woman also walked over. There were also many people around Wan Gang. There were men and women, but without exception, they were all outstanding, wearing luxurious clothes, and wearing many treasures. Needless to say, these were either geniuses or disciples of large families or sections. "Why haven't you left yet?" Hai Yu stood up from Wan Gang's arms and glanced at Fan Hao and Lin Xian with deep disdain in her eyes. Who were these people? Wan Gang glanced at Lin Xian and Fan Hao before retracting his gaze. Fan Hao was an early 9-star person. He did not take him seriously at all. Although he could not see the depth of the red-clothed youth next to him, he should not be a genius. Therefore, he also had a hint of disdain. The two of them? Hai Yu's lips curled into a sneer as she looked at Fan Hao and said that he was here to see Qingqing. A toad actually wants to eat swan meat? What a joke! As for this kid, he should be Fan Hao's companion. Here to see Qingqing? As expected, he was courting death. The surrounding cultivators all laughed. Wan Gang even snorted coldly. He looked at Qingqing with a hint of fire in his eyes. However, he managed to control it very well. He knew that this Qingqing was not simple. She was the little princess of a large family. He had once wanted to take her, but he could not succeed at all. Now, an early 9-star person actually dared to have designs on Qingqing. He was really courting death. Oh right, these two people also said that they would vigorously search for 5,000-year-old king herbs. He also wanted to find the red velvet flower and the vine leaf flower. Hai Yu said in a delicate voice. What? As soon as these words came out, these young cultivators were all stunned. Then, one by one, they bent over in laughter. With just the two of them? You want the 5,000-year-old king of medicine? Red spirit grass and man leaf flower? I'm dying of laughter. Where did these two brothers come from? This was too aggressive. Wan Gang was also stunned. Then he grinned. It seemed that not only were their cultivations weak, they were also brainless idiots. Hai Yu coldly snorted and wanted to drive the two away, but Wan Gong stopped her. Wan Gong looked at Fan Hao and Lin Xian and said with a smile, "It seems that the two of you are looking for spiritual herbs. It just so happens that I also wanted to go to the 10,000 herb hall. Why don't we go together?" Hearing this, Hai Yu was also stunned. What was going on? Wan Gong wanted to help them. However, when he saw Wan Gang's expression, he immediately understood what Wan Gong was thinking. It seemed that Wan Gong wanted to tease these two people. The young martial artists around him also knew about this and immediately started cheering. "Brat, with just the two of you, who knows how long it will take you? Just follow our brother Wan. Our brother Wan is a genius. He knows people in the 10,000 herb hall and can give you a discount." Hearing this, Qing Qing was also stunned. She naturally knew what the other party was thinking, so she quickly shook her head. Fan Hao glanced at Lin Xian and asked for his opinion. Lin Xian nodded slightly. "Okay, thank you very much." He naturally knew what the other party was up to. However, at his level of strength, he did not care at all. What he wanted now was those spiritual herbs. No matter what method he used, he had to collect all of them to refine the Saint Breakthrough Pill. Hai Yu sneered. These two really did not know what was good for them. Wan Gong also smiled proudly. Later, he would properly intimidate the other party and show his strength. He would let these two know what it meant to be a toad lusting after a swan's meat. Others wanted to get a woman that he could not get. What a joke! Qing Qing also sighed. She was already in despair and did not plan to help the two of them anymore. On the other hand, the girl in black looked at Lin Xian with a trace of curiosity in her eyes. This was because she realized that Lin Xian's expression was very indifferent from the beginning to the end. It was as if he did not care about them or Wan Gong and the others. Did this guy have something to rely on? She did not know. However, she had seen people with such an expression. They were either peerless figures who ruled over a region or idiots. She did not know what kind of person he was. Therefore, she was very curious and wanted to follow and take a look. "Let's go." With a wave of his hand, Wan Gong led the group away in a grandiose manner. The 10,000 herb hall was very famous. It could be ranked in the top 3 among the spiritual medicine halls in Giant Armor City. It was said that there was a mysterious force behind the 10,000 herb hall. When it first opened, it was attacked by many parties, but in the end, it was successfully built. Moreover, it became bigger and bigger. The original big families and big forces in the city did not dare to provoke it anymore. Lin Xian was also looking forward to such a place. Refining the Saint Breakthrough Pill required 1,300 types of spiritual medicine. Lin Xian was able to gather 300 types, and he would need to collect the remaining 1,000 types. Therefore, Lin Xian would not let go of any possibility. The 10,000 herb hall was located in the north of the city. It was a very magnificent and huge hall. At the door, there were 2 white jade rabbits carved from wood-tooth crystals. They were lifelike and each of them was like a small mountain. They exuded a strong spiritual qi and suppressed the front. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. He realized that these 2 white jade rabbits were not just decorations, but the center of 2 formations. The entire 10,000 herb hall was wrapped in a huge formation. There were no less than 10 defensive and offensive formations. Of course, ordinary people could not see it. They only knew that the spiritual qi here was abundant, and there was always a sense of danger hanging in their hearts. However, given how powerful Lin Xian was, there was no way any formation could hide from his divine ability. So it was young Master Wan. "Please come in." At the front, after Wan Gong arrived, someone from the 10,000 herb hall came to welcome him. This scene immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding martial artists. Wan Gong laughed loudly and walked in with large strides. Hai Yu snuggled up to him, looking very dignified. "Look, this is a real powerhouse." He was respected everywhere he went. The young martial artists and geniuses behind him also followed. Fan Hao looked at this scene and was extremely shocked. He naturally knew about the 10,000 herb hall. Ordinary people did not dare to be presumptuous here. It was said that even famous powerhouses did not dare to mess around here. Moreover, if one wanted to become the other party's VIP, one had to be extremely wealthy and have an extremely high status. Who would have thought that this Wan Gong was also a distinguished guest? Therefore, he smiled bitterly and said carefully, "Brother Lin, that Wan Gong is not simple. We'd better not provoke him." "Oh, why?" Lin Xian asked indifferently. Fang Hao said, "As far as I know, Wan Gong should be a genius powerhouse from the Big Dipper sect. His Big Dipper physique is very strong. Although he is a late-stage 9-star, his physique is definitely comparable to a peak 9-star. Moreover, he is also a member of the Wan family. It seems that his status in the Wan family is not low. Otherwise, he would not be treated as a VIP by the 10,000 herb hall." Chapter 3108. Lin Xian nodded slightly after hearing this, but he didn't care in his heart. Not to mention Wan Gong, he didn't even put the Heavenly Dipper sect in his eyes. What's more, it was a small disciple of the Heavenly Dipper sect. After entering, even someone like Qingqing Haiwa was greatly shocked. The surrounding stalks of spiritual herbs emitted a strong medicinal fragrance. The age and price of the herbs were written on them, causing even these people to be greatly astonished. Too expensive. Some spirit herbs required a small portion of their wealth. There were even some that they couldn't afford even if they sold all of their wealth. "I want a 5,000-year-old ink spirit flower." After Wan Gong entered, he said loudly. His voice was so loud that the surrounding martial artists heard it. Immediately, shocked and envious gazes were cast over. A 5,000-year-old ink spirit flower. Heavens, although the ink spirit flower wasn't particularly precious. But 5,000 years was already considered a little medicine king. The price was also very shocking. Who was this? He was actually so generous. Looking at his physique, it was so strong. He should be from the Heavenly Dipper sect or the Dragon Tiger sect. Hearing the shocked and envious discussions of the surrounding people, Wan Gong stood with his hands behind his back. Beside him, Hai Yu was so excited that she was trembling. This feeling of being the center of attention was really too good. Qingqing and the woman in black were also surprised. They didn't expect Wan Gong to actually want to buy the little medicine king. Even the people who came with Wan Gong cried out in surprise. "No way, Brother Wan, you actually came this time to buy the little medicine king. Brother Wan, you're really generous." "Yes, I also want to buy a few stalks of spirit herbs. But compared to Brother Wan, I'm really far behind." After the middle-aged man in charge of receiving heard this, he was also stunned. Then, he smiled and said, "Young Master Wan, please wait a moment. Let's go to the VIP room first." He brought Wan Gong and the others to a luxurious room, served them spirit tea, and then quickly left. Soon, the door opened again. Other than the middle-aged man from before, there were 3 other people. Among them, there were 2 old men and a beautiful woman. The 2 old men wore white robes and had aged faces. But their eyes were incomparably sharp. Seeing these 2 old men, Qingqing Hai Yu and the others were shocked. They knew that these 2 old men were very famous and belonged to the category of spirit medicine appraisers. The spirit herbs they appraised could be said to be 100% authentic. Even if there was an error in the age, it would not exceed 10 years. Therefore, these martial artists could buy the spirit herbs that had been appraised by these 2 people without any worries. When they saw the young woman, they were immediately stunned. Even Wan Gong was stunned. In the next moment, he hurriedly stood up. The bright girl was about 30 years old. She had red lips and white teeth. She was very beautiful and her body was filled with spiritual energy. As he walked, there was a strange fragrance of flowers. "Madame Hua, I didn't expect you to come as well." Wan Gong hurriedly cupped his fists and said. The others were equally shocked. Fang Hao was even more surprised. "What? Madame Hua was here too? This Wan Gang's face was too big, right?" Lin Xian asked from the side. Who was this person? Madame Hua was the shopkeeper of the 10,000 herb hall on the surface. Her status could be said to be very noble. He didn't expect her to come as well. It should be because Wan Gong bought the little herb king. Lin Xian nodded slightly and didn't care. He glanced at the other party. This Madame Hua had a beautiful face, but she should be a few hundred years old. Her cultivation was around the early stage of 9 stars. She wasn't too strong. It was impossible for him to support the 10,000 herb hall alone. One had to know that the world of martial artists was very cruel. If someone with the strength of an early stage 9-star went out alone, they would probably be swallowed up until not even their bones were left. Therefore, Lin Xian knew that there must be an even more terrifying expert behind Madame Hua. After Madame Hua arrived, she said a few words of courtesy. Although it wasn't much, it still made Hai Yu and the others very excited. Look, this was Wan Gang's face. Thinking of this, Hai Yu became even more proud. This Wan Gong was her man. Thinking of this, she glanced at Fan Hao and Lin Xian. Compared to Wan Gong, these two were simply ants. Fan Hao sensed that many people were looking at him, and his face immediately turned red. Lin Xian was expressionless. When he saw that Madame Hua was about to leave, he immediately said in a deep voice, "Madame Hua, please wait." Hearing this, Madame Hua stopped and turned her head, frowning slightly. The middle-aged deacon was also stunned. Then, he stared at Lin Xian. Everyone was stunned. Hai Yu snorted coldly. "Kid, what are you doing? How dare you stop Madame Hua? Do you want to die?" Wan Gang's face also darkened. Although he was powerful, he couldn't be compared to Madame Hua. If this kid angered Madame Hua, he would probably be implicated. Thinking of this, he turned his head and looked with a piercing killing intent in his eyes. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. His expression was calm, as if he didn't care about the world. Seeing this, Madame Hua was slightly stunned. This young man was so calm. She stopped and asked curiously, "Why did you call me?" "I came to the 10,000 herb hall to buy spiritual herbs." Lin Xian spoke again. "Buy spiritual herbs?" Madame Hua frowned again. "You can just let them handle this kind of thing." As she spoke, she was about to turn her head. However, Lin Xian's voice made her stop again. "I'm afraid others can't make the decision. The spiritual herbs I want to buy are not ordinary." "Oh? What do you want?" Madame Hua's interest was piqued. This kid was quite arrogant. The middle-aged deacon snorted coldly. He couldn't make the decision? Who was this person? Was he more powerful than Wan Gong? Wan Gong snorted coldly. "This kid, I want to see how long you can pretend." Hai Yu and the others were the same. They looked as if they were watching a show. They even quickly distanced themselves from Lin Xian and Fang Hao. When the other party was courting death later, it would be best if he didn't drag them down with him. Golden thread grass, red blood fruit, rainbow butterfly. Lin Xian listed dozens of spiritual herbs in one go. Hearing this, Wan Gong grinned. These were all very common spiritual herbs. Not to mention the 10,000 herb hall, other smaller spiritual medicine halls also had them. The other party actually listed such spiritual herbs here. Wasn't he courting death? Sure enough, the middle-aged deacon's expression also darkened. The other party was obviously making fun of their 10,000 herb hall. Madame Hua also frowned. A trace of impatience appeared on her face. However, she was in charge of the 10,000 herb hall after all. She had patience. Therefore, she quietly waited for Lin Xian to finish. Lin Xian listed 50 spiritual herbs in one go. Then he said that these herbs had to be at least 5,000 years old. The older the better. It would be best if they were at least 7,000 years old. What? When they heard this, all the cultivators in the room were stunned. Hai Yu, Qing Qing, Wan Gong, and the others widened their eyes as if they had seen a ghost. Chapter 3109. The corners of the middle-aged deacon's mouth twitched. The two old men were also stunned. Even Madame Hua was stunned. What did he say? Did she hear wrongly? All of them were more than 5,000 years old. And the older, the better. And he wanted 7 or 8,000 years old. This scene made her feel like she was dreaming. Kid, you're too reckless. How dare you tease Madame Hua? Do you want to die? Wan Gong shouted coldly. The others also came back to their senses and sneered. Kid, do you know what 5,000 years is? And you want 7 or 8,000 years old. That's right, and you dare to ask for 50? I think you can't even afford one. These people mocked and ridiculed, and Hai Yu screamed like a little devil. She wanted to see how this kid would end up. Qingqing sighed. Originally, in her opinion, Lin Xian and Fang Hao were bragging in front of them. However, the other party dared to behave atrociously in 10,000 Herb Hall. Where was this? This was the Azura Arena. When 10,000 Herb Hall was first built, many experts came to assassinate it, but they were all suppressed in the end. Since then, no one dared to come to 10,000 Herb Hall to behave atrociously. But now, the other party dared to tease Madame Hua in public. Wasn't this courting death? Humph! Hearing the words of Wan Gong, Hai Yu and the others, Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the surrounding aura immediately froze. Wan Gong, Hai Yu and the others trembled, and a hint of fear appeared in their eyes. Especially Wan Gong, it was as if he had been targeted by a peerless beast. The blood in his body was about to condense. Damn it, who was it? He instantly shut his mouth, and did not dare to say anything more. Because he knew that 10,000 Herb Hall was extremely complicated, and there were peerless experts guarding it. If he dared to be presumptuous again, he would probably be killed immediately. The others, such as Hai Yu and the young warriors and geniuses, were the same. In their opinion, it should be the experts of 10,000 Herb Hall showing their might. How could they have thought that this aura was emitted from Lin Xian's body? Seeing that it had quieted down, Madame Hua asked again. Are you sure you want all of this? Of course. Why? Don't you have it? What a joke! What doesn't my 10,000 Herb Hall have? Of course, the 10,000 Herb Hall has all of these. But boy, are you sure you can afford it? The middle-aged deacon frowned and spoke with a dignified tone. You think I'm joking with you? Lin Xian's expression also darkened. Immediately, the terrifying aura in the sky became even more biting cold. Madame Hua's eyelids twitched. Then, she brought this young master to see the medicine. However, the middle-aged deacon still wanted to say something, but when he saw the look in Madame Hua's eyes, he immediately bowed and said, Yes, madam, I understand. Young master, please come with me. He looked at Lin Xian and made an inviting gesture. Lin Xian nodded slightly and said to Fang Hao, Brother Fang, wait here for a moment, I'll go take a look at the spiritual herbs. Lead the way. Lin Xian came to the front, and the middle-aged deacon led the way. Soon, the two of them left the room. Madame Hua also left, leaving behind only the two spiritual medicine appraisers. They took out a box made of jadeite and precious jade. Inside, there was a 5,000-year-old spiritual herb. What happened next was simple. Wan Gong paid a huge price to buy the spiritual herb and put it into his storage ring. After the two elders left, the entire room was in an uproar. Damn, it can't be, right? Could it be that the boy really wanted to buy so many 5,000-year-old spiritual herbs? Heavens! Those were all king herbs. Just one stalk was already at a shocking price. How could that brat possibly afford it? These people were all crazy. To tell the truth, even Fang Hao's mind was blank. He knew that Lin Xian might want to buy a small king herb. But he didn't expect that Lin Xian would say more than 50 king herbs in one breath. That was more than 55,000-year-old spiritual herbs. Wan Gong had already paid a huge price for one, let alone 50. Wan Gong also snorted coldly. Impossible, the boy definitely couldn't afford it. He must be trying to show off in front of us. That's right, just you wait. The consequences of making a fool of the 10,000 Herb Hall are very tragic. He'll probably be skinned alive. Suppressed in hell forever and never reincarnated. Fan Hao, where did you meet that guy? What's his identity? Hai Yu asked sharply. Qing Qing and the woman in the black dress also looked over. Seeing so many people looking over, Fan Hao was a little nervous. He sighed. I don't know either. I met Brother Lin on the road. From what I know, Brother Lin seems to be a rogue cultivator. What, a rogue cultivator? When those words came out, everyone was stunned. Ha ha! I'm dying of laughter. Those people laughed loudly. Disdain appeared in Hai Li's eyes again. I thought he was a disciple of some big family? He's actually a rogue cultivator. A rogue cultivator like him dares to buy 50 king herbs. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Let's see how he dies. Fan Hao, I advise you to leave quickly. Otherwise, you're dead meat too. Wan Gong also snorted coldly, his eyes filled with disdain. As a genius disciple of the Tiangang sect and the young master of the Wan family, buying a 5,000-year-old spiritual herb was already very painful, let alone 50. How could Fan Hao afford it? He knew that Fan Hao would not live. No one had ever left alive after provoking the 10,000 herb haul. Therefore, Wan Gong stood up. Let's go. Don't bother with a dead man. Let's go outside and see if there are any other spiritual herbs. Don't you want to buy a few too? Yes, I haven't bought mine yet. These young prodigy martial artists followed Wan Gong one after another and walked out. Fan Hao was stunned. He was very worried about Lin Xian's safety. In the end, he sighed, gritted his teeth, and followed them. He would not leave. He had to see Lin Xian come out safely with his own eyes. On the other side, the middle-aged deacon and an appraisal elder brought Lin Xian to another hall. According to Lin Xian's request, they took out stalks of spiritual herbs one after another. Among them, the middle-aged deacon sneered and sent a voice transmission. Immediately, the elder took out a few stalks of spiritual herbs and placed them on the table. They were not 5,000-year-old. Some were 3,000-year-old, and some were even 2,000-year-old. However, ordinary people would not be able to tell. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he snorted coldly. Is this how the 10,000 herb hall does business? You took a 2,000-year-old and two 3,000-year-old herbs and mixed them in? The reputation of the 10,000 herb hall is really something. What? Hearing that, the middle-aged deacon and the elder trembled. Their eyes were filled with deep shock. Their voice transmission was very secretive. Moreover, they only mixed in a small amount. Other than the two of them, no one else knew. However, the other party saw through it with a single glance. How was that possible? Could it be that the other party eavesdropped on their conversation? Impossible. The two of them were communicating via voice transmission. Who could hear them? Or was the other party an expert in appraising spiritual herbs? Thinking of that, their hearts beat wildly. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.